Gorgeous night in Tuscaloosa for Game 1 of this Super Regional. Nebraska and the #2 overall seed Alabama. Best 2 out of 3, and the winner moves on to Oklahoma City in the Women's College World Series. Directly slotted up with Tennessee and Oklahoma in the 7-10 series. You'll see that with Game 1 starting out tomorrow night from Norman over on ESPN2 at 7 Eastern. Adam Amin, 2-time All-American Amanda Scarborough with you from Tuscaloosa for this series. They average about 2,800 a night at the Rhodes House, Rhodes Stadium, and they have just about packed the place once again as Jacqueline Traina and the Tide take the field. Traina on the season has been very good, as you might expect, but she is looking more and more like her 2012 self. A lot of health issues a season ago, and she's been very much recovered from the arm fatigue that plagued her last year, and she's looking more like the Traina that led Alabama to the only SEC softball championship in the program's and sports history.
Well, that's what she is, a leader for this team, an All-American. She has a national championship in her back pocket, a national championship experience. And she's going to throw hard. She's going to throw between 67 and 70 miles an hour. She's known for the speed that she throws. She has a great drop and a drop curve that she likes to mix outside to the righties. Important for her to limit her pitch count tonight. Nebraska told us they wanted to work the pitch count up against her. Important for her to combat that and battle it right back.
This Nebraska offense has been very good this season. Their starting lineup is presented to you by Capital One. Set school records in on-base slugging and home runs with 72 this year. 346 runs. That's the second most in program history. And Haley Decker had a day to remember on Sunday against Missouri when Nebraska needed to win 2 to reach this.
A huge reason why Nebraska is in Tuscaloosa right now is Haley Decker, one of the smartest hitters in that Nebraska offense.
4 home runs in 2 games against Mizzou on Sunday to get him here. Rhonda Revelle has had a wonderful run at Nebraska, was a pitcher for the Huskers in the early 80s and led Nebraska to its first Women's College World Series in 1982. Now in her 22nd season as the head coach, has taken to this program to the Women's College World Series. Now as a coach, did so last year. Nebraska trying to do what it did a season ago and win 2 of 3 on the road against a top 3 team and head to OKC. It'll be Alicia Armstrong leading things off for Nebraska. The sophomore will dig in. Part of the lineup change for the Cornhuskers. They had a very different looking lineup in Game 1 of the NCAA tournament last week. They lost their opening game to Kansas. Rhonda Revelle shook up the lineup, put Alicia Armstrong back into the leadoff spot, and suddenly Nebraska, as it has in the past when Rhonda Revelle has made a lineup change, responded very well.
Well, it's back where she knows how to be, where she wants to be. She was a leadoff hitter almost her entire life, and Taylor Edwards was in that spot, but Taylor Edwards was hitting more 3, more 4 her entire life, and then a little bit of leadoff for this for the last part of this season, but changed up the lineup. They're back where they feel comfortable.
325, 4 homers, 27 driven in the leadoff spot for the 17th time in her Nebraska career, and Jacqueline Traina, the senior from Florida, gets set to work. Best 2 out of 3, winner to OKC. Strike 1, away we go at 8:05. Check swing and appeal down to first base. Katrina Kershaw says no swing. Take that Craig Hyde at first, Katrina Kershaw at third.
It's going to be important for this Nebraska offense to stay short. Coach Rhonda Revelle for Nebraska said that is just so important. Let Traina's power be used in their swing. Stay short, just make contact.
Fouled away down the line and out of play. 1 and 2.
And they made that a major focus this week at practice for the couple of practices that they were actually able to have. They played that long weekend and got back really late on Sunday night, had a quick turnaround to get here to Tuscaloosa. But when they were practicing their swings, that's what they were trying to do. Stay short, shorten up, just make contact. Used a lot of the hack attack to get a little anxiety going, speeding that machine up to make it just like what they potentially would face against Traina.
1-2. in the dirt. Jacqueline Traina, the name is known very well at this point, now a senior. SEC Pitcher of the Year, first teamer, 102 career wins. That's third all time behind Shelley Laird and Kelsey Dunn. 115 and 113 wins for those two. 2-2 delivery. In the air, well hit, left center field. McClain racing back, one down.
And I know that's a good first out for Traina, but that is a good piece of hitting by Armstrong. She's going to get a lot of high fives in the dugout for that, because to lead off the game with that solid contact is a huge deal for Nebraska.
McClain, arguably one of the best center fielders in the country. Case and Spencer flank her in the outfield. Grantham and Hayes, left side a little younger. Hunt and Lafayette with Fickner doing the catching for Traina as Hailey Decker digs in. Ball one down and in. Decker on a 13-game hit streak was off the charts in the NCAA regional. 10 of 20 with 5 homers. And we told you 4 of those came in the doubleheader on Sunday when Nebraska needed 2 wins to get to the Supers. That was against Mizzou. Ground ball up the middle, and Decker on a 14-game hit streak. The sophomore continues to stroke a hot bat, and the Huskers have a one-out single.
And Hailey Decker, after hitting the amount of home runs at regionals that she hit last weekend, could come in here with a big swing, but she shortens up. Just a ground ball to shorten it up, taking it right back up the middle. She has home run power, but she knows what she needs to do to get on base.
That'll bring up Tatum Edwards. We'll get the start in the circle tonight as well. Has been a very good hitter in her career with 46 home runs in her Nebraska tenure. Ball one upstairs to Edwards. Hitting a shade under 300. 51 driven in for Tatum this year. These two squaring off in the circle. Traina will not hit, at least not in the offensive lineup tonight for Alabama for game 1. There's a strike, and the count even at 1-1.
And you hear just with every strike, this crowd gets so into it. This is one of the toughest places to play in all of college softball. I mean, just for a strike to be thrown, they are so into every pitch.
One of the toughest places in the country to play. 26-3, the Tide at home this year. That went off the corner, 2 balls and a strike. We said it, they average about 2,800. But the last couple of years, even though their attendance total is down, last couple of years setting an NCAA record. They set it in 2010. Arizona broke it in 2011. Alabama back on top the last 2 seasons. Way out in front, 2-2.
It's an off-speed pitch. She's thrown a couple of them, and the thing about Jackie Traina is that she has an off-speed pitch as well as a changeup, and they're about the same speed, but they have different spin, which makes it look different to the hitter.
Full count.
There you see that touching 72 miles an hour, so that when she throws her off speed and her changeup, it comes in about 55, 56. It's a good speed differential between those 2 pitches.
And keep an eye out for that tonight. About 13, 14, sometimes 15, the difference. Payoff pitch to Edwards coming. Line shot towards the gap. That's down and all the way to the wall. Decker on her way to third. She's going to be waved home. Here comes the throw from Hunt. Play at the plate, and the Huskers take the lead.
Just some good swings. The first 3 hitters who have come up have had quality at bats with a lot of confidence. Coming into here to Tuscaloosa, and you come up with a full count and go opposite field, just shortening up, and a line drive to the right center field gap. Hailey Decker did not stop running once she rounded second base, and once she rounded third, she knew she was scoring once that ball hit the gap.
So Tatum Edwards brings Decker home. They dent Traina in the top of the first inning, and now it is Tatum's twin sister and her catcher, Taylor Edwards, the all-time Nebraska home run leader, to the plate. Taylor with 54 career home runs. She broke the Nebraska home run record in the NCAA regional last weekend, now 54. 70 seconds younger than her sister at second base, Tatum.
But who's counting, right?
This battery trying to help its own cause. 0-1. Tried the corner and missed. 1-1.
And this is a big feat for Nebraska to come in here and score in the first inning is huge. They kind of talked about this atmosphere being very similar to Oklahoma City and their experience last year when they made the Women's College World Series and their experience that they just had last weekend in regionals in Columbia, Missouri.
I would go ahead and argue it's probably even more similar to Eugene last year because in OKC you've got neutral fans as well. In Eugene a season ago where Nebraska won 2 out of 3, and here in Tuscaloosa the fans are all against you outside of your home fans that made the trip. Huskers trying to do what they did last season, win 2 of 3 on the road against one of the best teams in one of the toughest places in the country. Off the end of the bat and popped up to Lafayette. She'll make the catch for out number 2.
It's a nice off-speed pitch on the outside part of the plate, and Taylor Edwards just hits it off the end of her bat. You can tell that her timing was mixed up a little bit. She's definitely geared in for something that's coming at about 70 miles an hour.
You have to against Trina, I would think. One of the hardest throwers in the country. 2 down for MJ Knighton, who's had a great freshman season. All Big Ten second team this year, taking over the third base spot for the Huskers. First pitch strike. Well, 3 of the first 5 have seen a first pitch strike from Trina. Knighton took over the third base spot vacated by the graduated Gabby Banda, who was outstanding last year, had the tough end to her season with the knee injury in Oklahoma City. But Knighton has stepped right up. 1-1. And Knighton in a good stretch now as well. She only had 14 RBI in her first 32 games, 23 in her last 28, and had a very solid regional.
Well, this team is really young. When you take a look at the roster, only a couple of seniors. And Knighton is just one of those freshmen who are stepping onto this scene, and they're getting to play their postseason on the road at regionals and in super regionals. But kind of an up and down season that Nebraska has had, but I think a large part of that is due to a young roster that they have.
Line drive center field, base hit picked up by McClain. Here comes Tatum Edwards. The throw is up the line, and it's 2-0. Nebraska on the road.
And the thing that you're seeing Nebraska do is they're going up to bat, they're shortening their swings, they're not trying to pull pitches, they're not trying to overpower the pitch. That's a beautiful swing, right back up the middle. Her hands were so fast from her load to seeing the ball and making contact and using the power that Trina has to get it to the outfield.
Here's the 5th-year junior, Kylie Muir. Strike 1. When we talked to the Huskers yesterday, we asked them, when do you know you're settled in? And it was if we have an inning and a first or a second inning like this where they can get some early runs against such a good pitcher in Trina. There's ball 1 to Muir. So if that's their goal, if that's what they were looking to do to try to settle in, they've done that job with 2 runs against one of the best pitchers in the country. Runner goes. Here's the throw down to second base. Knighton is out at second on a gorgeous throw by Fichtner. First time that the Huskers have been caught stealing in the NCAA tournament. But Tatum Edwards, who's going to take the circle when you come back, helps out her own cause. An RBI double to get a run home. It's 2-0 Nebraska to the bottom of the first. MJ Knighton adding to a 2-0 lead. In that top of the first inning, Knighton had the second RBI for the Cornhuskers in the top of the first. The first one belonged to the pitcher, Tatum Edwards, who helps out her own cause. The Big Ten Pitcher of the Year a season ago back into the Super Regionals, trying to get it done today.
Tatum Edwards, another senior pitcher, and she doesn't throw the ball softly. She'll bring it in there at about 65, 68 miles an hour. More north and south that she throws, so more rise ball and drop ball. Her drop ball is her bread and butter pitch. So important for her to stay unpredictable. Do not let these Alabama hitters get comfortable in the box with their foul balls, with their approach. That's due in large part to pitch calling by Rhonda Ravel.
Alabama's offense and their starting lineup, it comes to you presented by Capital One. 6.5 runs a game, 17th in the country. They steal a ton of bases, and Jaden Spencer had a monster tournament. She's on a 5-game hit streak. She's got 3 homers in her last 4 games.
It was Haley Decker for Nebraska. It was Jaden Spencer, the star of the Tuscaloosa Regional.
Junior from Waterloo, Iowa, the same hometown as Patrick Murphy, and one of the great leadoff hitters in the country, and Hailey Mcclain digs in against Edwards. You want to talk about a tough out, you want to talk about a true 5-tool softball player, you are looking at one, and just a sophomore. Mcclain, a top 10 finalist for Player of the Year in the country on a 16-game hit streak. That's tying a career high.
So he's going to
call. Did we get a legal pitch? We did get an illegal pitch. And Rhonda Ravel wants to know why it was an illegal pitch on Tatum Edwards, so the count will be 2 balls and no strikes.
And for him to call it that early before she even goes into her pitch has to be about her hands either coming together or setting and then stopping again. And it was before the pitch was even thrown.
Yeah, that ball counted as the first one. I thought I saw a slight shift. Terry Holt is our home plate umpire. I thought I saw Edwards move and maybe lean off the rubber a little bit, and I wonder if she may have moved her hands after coming set. 2-0. There's a strike, 2-1.
Either way, it's most likely not going to happen again. It's not going to be one of those illegal pitches where there's leaping or crow hopping to where it'll get called every single time. Just an accident. Sometimes that happens when you get your momentum going and accidentally kind of reclutch your hands again.
It's about as close to a balk as you'll get in softball.
Exactly.
Foul tipped by Mcclain, and the count is even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 6th in the country in batting average, led the SEC. Improvement on her power, an outstanding base stealer, doesn't chase bad pitches, 48 walks to 10 strikeouts. But a 2-2 pitch coming from Edwards. 3-2. You can say a lot of superlatives about Mcclain, and you could easily make an argument that she's the best leadoff hitter in the country.
You absolutely can. She's a lot of fun to watch offensively and defensively, the way that she just roams out in center field.
And a foul tip just got a piece of it.
And you have a great angle in that center field camera of how much her drop ball is actually moving right now for Tatum Edwards. Good late sharp break. You want to talk about somebody who's amped up for this game, I think it's Tatum Edwards.
In at third, Knighton. 3-2 delivery. Change up, poke to second, and Decker is there for the first out. That is a huge, and I mean huge, out to get all weekend long, keeping Mcclain off the base paths for Nebraska. Defensively, the Huskers have Woolman, Stokes, and Muir, 2 new full-time outfielders in left and right this season. Knighton, Armstrong, Decker, and Tyson third to first, with Taylor Edwards, a very good run neutralizer behind the plate, catching her twin sister Tatum.
And you said it, that's a really big out for Nebraska. But what surprised me was the swings and misses that Mcclain had. You do not see that very often. We talk about how great of a hitter she is, but that is a big part to the movement that Tatum Edwards had on that drop ball, and how late break sharp movement that she threw to Mcclain.
First time that Nebraska is seeing Trena, first time that Alabama is seeing Edwards. Here's Callie Case.
And I love that you pointed that out, because I feel like that makes this game so interesting. These are not 2 teams who face each other all the time. They didn't see each other in the preseason. They've only played each other twice ever in the history of their programs.
Right. Once in 2002 and once in 2010. They've split the two meetings. Nebraska won it in February of '02, and remind you that was a College World Series year for the Huskers. Alabama run-ruled Nebraska in February of 2010. That was a game that Charlotte Morgan, Amanda Locke, and Jennifer Fenton all hit home runs in a big Alabama win. There's Patrick Murphy. Count 2 balls and a strike. Patrick Murphy now into his 16th season. He has been with Alabama since its inception as a program in '97, a couple of years under Caleb Hack as an assistant, and took over as the head coach, the 4-time SEC Coach of the Year, including this year. 3 balls and a strike on Case, who's having a much improved season from last year in terms of numbers. Hit just .214 last year. Look at that jump to .345 this year. .3-1. Ball 4, and Alabama has a very good base stealer aboard.
And if one thing that Tatum Edwards is known for is that she can give up the walk. She's a fighter, she's a competitor, but she is known to give up that walk, and that's part of Alabama's offensive game plan. Make her bring it up, her drop ball, and you can't swing at balls. You have to force her to throw it in the zone.
1 on, 1 out for Kayla Hunt. Senior from Georgia, 57 home runs. We mentioned Charlotte Morgan. She's 1 shy of tying Morgan for second all time at Alabama. First pitch in there for a strike, and it's 0-1. 40 driven in this year. Another power hitter who doesn't strike out all that often. Maybe once about every 8 at bats, which is pretty good for somebody who's hit 11 this year. Outside, count is even at a ball and a strike, and make sure you keep an eye out for Callie Case at first base. Very good on-base numbers for Hunt this year. We'll see if she takes, because Case is 18 of 21 stealing bases this year. Taylor Edwards has thrown out 23 of 50. You see how quickly Taylor gets out of that crouch. She's got very good mechanics.
Yeah, she gets up fast. She's ready. She has experience. One of the best catchers, one of the best hitters in the country. She's an All-American for a reason.
This is going to be fun, watching the Alabama running game against Taylor Edwards this weekend. That one coming down and in on Kayla Hunt. Good movement, and it's 2-2.
And a big swing by Hunt on that 2-1 offering. And then a great pitch by Tatum Edwards.
A lot of movement so far from Tatum Edwards.
Absolutely.
Two-2. 3-2.
When you're in the circle in this kind of environment, it's so important just to take it one pitch at a time and still not overthrow. Remember to breathe. Sometimes you forget to breathe. It's the most important part to be able to relax.
That one came up and in. It is a foul ball. Went off the bat of Hunt. What's the toughest environment you remember playing in outside of OKC?
You know, Norman was pretty tough, and when we went to Arizona and played in Tucson, that was a pretty tough environment too. And we were just there last weekend. Got to see that despite the 100-degree weather.
Payoff. And foul back once again. Back to first goes Case.
And she has such good stuff. You can already tell early in this game, Tatum Edwards does, that her ball is just dancing. So it's even more important for her to come to the strike zone and really try to challenge these hitters and trust her best stuff.
In the air, down the line, Woolman coming on, makes the catch. Case back to first base, and there are 2 down.
And a couple of outs that she's gotten have both been on changeups. Full count, being able to throw that in a tough situation, and that's just a veteran pitch and great pitch calling to mix things up against these good hitters.
Here's Jaden Spencer, who had the outstanding NCAA regional. 9 for 11, including a couple of 4 for 4 games. Hit 2 home runs in the regional. Strike one.
Well, Coach Murphy told us yesterday she did a great job of hitting strikes. He just kept it really simple. And when she hit it, she crushed it. It's all about seeing a good pitch and all about trusting your eyes in the zone.
Hit 7 home runs last year, has hit 12, including this last 4-game stretch where she's hit 3 this year. On a 5-game hit streak coming into the Supers. Drops one in. That was a huge speed differential down to 47, and it's 1-2.
Yeah, 47 miles an hour. Look how she flips it out of the back of her hand. It's a beautiful pitch. Just completely fools her.
Trying to end the first. Got her. How about those last 2 pitches to close out a scoreless first? The changeup and then this bad boy coming in.
Followed by an outstanding drop ball on the outside corner. Nebraska's going to go ahead.
Game 1 of this NCAA softball super regional presented by Capital One. Tatum Edwards and the Huskers on top 2-0 as we go to the 2nd inning, and we welcome you to the Rhodes House. 2-time All-American Amanda Scarborough, Adam Amin on hand. So you think Alabama number 2 overall seed, you think Nebraska unseeded. Maybe you don't know a whole lot about Nebraska if you haven't seen them a lot this year. Alabama's a very good program, so is Nebraska. Very similar in terms of their histories, their offenses, and it really starts in the circle.
For both of them, between Jacqueline Traina and Tatum Edwards, 2 seniors, 2 All-Americans that lead them, and their numbers are so similar. Other than the innings pitched, look at their ERA and their strikeouts. If Jacqueline Traina had the innings that Tatum had, those strikeout numbers would be right on point.
Meanwhile, offensively, we talk about Nebraska. Their power numbers are very high this year. Alabama, a little less power, but they've gotten it done in a different way in both teams. Again, very similar. They've both gotten it done this year to the tune of about six-plus runs a game.
The way that they parallel with their offenses is just crazy to me. Whenever I look down at the statistics and saw their batting average, saw the home runs, the only thing that's different is that Alabama likes to steal more, but the runs per game, these teams are so similar offensively, and just it calls for such a great matchup in the circle and at the plate.
Both have Hall of Fame coaches. Both won at least a share of their conference championships this year. Nebraska a share of it with Michigan. Alabama outright in the SEC. And it'll be Kylie Muir to lead things off in the Nebraska 2nd against Traina. Muir, starting right fielder for this Nebraska team. A 5th-year junior. He redshirted as a true freshman. That was back in 2010. Only played 1 game in 2012. Was granted a 6th year of eligibility this past year, so she'll have 1 more season next year as a 6th-year senior. Jacqueline Traina, a senior from Naples, Florida. What a performance in 2012. Essentially put Alabama on her back, along with some incredible offensive performances in Oklahoma City, and took this team to a title. Blows one at 68 by Muir, 1-2.
And last year, she didn't have quite the year that she wanted.
Right.
She set a really high standard for herself and wanted to instill confidence in her teammates, but she just didn't quite have that same confidence in herself. But no matter what she says about last year, the year before, all Jacqueline Traina wanted to do was be the best teammate. And so if her results affect this team winning the game, it's not really about her. It's about her team. And that's the mentality that this Alabama program has year in and year out.
Traina told us that after the 2012 season and the incredible amount of innings that she pitched during that run, 288 innings as a sophomore, obviously taking your team all the way to Game 3 of the Women's College World Series, naturally going to throw a lot of innings. She was tired. She was fatigued, and she dealt with arm issues in the 2nd half of last year. She just wasn't herself. Looking for her first K. She's got it.
Strike on the outside part of the plate, what looks like a screwball or a low rise, whatever it is, it's working on the outside part of the plate to get Muir, because the fact that it got her looking, these Nebraska hitters were just in a zone in the 1st inning, and then you got a looking strikeout to start the 2nd. That's huge for the momentum.
Here's the sophomore speedster, Kiki Stokes. Oh, look at the movement on that pitch, and I'm just looking at it from up here. It is really moving east and west right now.
And both the pitchers have great movement. Late drop ball movement, drop curve. It's going to move down and into a left-handed hitter.
Just two lefties. You saw one of them a moment ago in Muir. This is the other one in the starting lineup in Stokes. One around, strike two.
And that actually was not a called strike. Home plate umpire said that Stokes went, and that position right there, sometimes an umpire is going to call it, sometimes they're not going to call it when that bat is pretty much parallel with the plane of the plate.
Stokes, Rhonda Revelle told us last year, is maybe one of the fastest players she's ever had. She's really the main base stealing threat for the Cornhuskers. Stokes hit a home run, her fourth of the season during the NCAA regional last week. Not much of a power hitter, a small sprite lefty who's got a ton of speed and usually tries to slap her way aboard. High chop foul.
And something to look for is that head coach Rhonda Revelle told us that their game plan were to hit some good foul balls against Jacqueline Traina. Stay with her pitch for pitch, get her pitch count up. And I know it's still early in the second inning, but so far they've done a very solid job of that. Every person that's gone up there has seen the ball pretty well, looked confident, and hit some foul balls and had some success scoring those 2 runs in the first.
Two and two.
Ryan Iamurray for Alabama said that about playing at their home field, you have thousands of people who have your back, and getting to play at home is a privilege. And she's exactly right. These fans are all over the umpire. I'm thinking everything's a strike.
In the air, well hit right center. Long run for Spencer, and that'll get down for a base hit. Stokes has speed, and she'll get into third with a triple. 7-pitch at bat work by Stokes, and she is 60 feet away from another Nebraska run.
Fouled off some pitches and then took one inside and drove it to right center, trying to get in on her hands, but not in enough. And that one traveled a lot further than I thought that it was going to. But the speed that she has, she did not slow down. You see her round first and then picked up a little speed once she noticed that that ball was going to fall, and she was thinking triple all the way.
Here's Austin Ernest, and she went around. It looked like she went around. And if you're Fickner, you have to ask for an appeal. You have to ask for an appeal if you're Molly Fickner right there. And indeed, they appeal down to Craig Hyde, who says that Ernest indeed went around. You've got to be aware of that if you're Fickner. That time she was eventually. Patrick Murphy had to come out and tell Fickner to ask for an appeal. And from this angle, I don't know about the replay, but in this angle, it did look like Ernest went around. One and two.
And that's one of the biggest swings that we've seen out of Nebraska right there. Ernest is pulling her head. It's just a 1-1 count, but that's how they've had this success, is by shortening up. So important to stick to that game plan, even though it's a big environment. Your team just scored. You also want to be the one to get the big hit, but stick to the game plan to shorten up.
Ernest was out for a significant amount of time. From March the 19th to April the 11th, she did not play. She suffered a concussion during the season against Kansas, was in the hospital for about 4 days, then got out and was out for about 3 weeks. Hasn't played much in the field, just the DP now. Fouled away, and it remains 2-2.
That's a much better job of shortening up with 2 strikes and getting rid of a pitch on the outside part of the plate.
In the NCAA tournament so far, the Huskers have hit decently with runners in scoring position. You see Ernest has been very solid. Stokes at third, 2-2. And that is a foul ball. And again, these are the types of pitches that, and I keep looking at Trina's pitches out of her hand. They're moving all over the place. A lot of spin, a lot of drop, a lot of movement left and right. And Nebraska's doing a good job of fighting and spoiling these pitches.
And a couple of different speeds at that on top of everything. That's why it's so important to really let the ball travel as much as it can. And Ernest did a great job right there on an off-speed pitch to foul it off. It's one of the hardest things to do when you're facing somebody who throws 70 plus.
In the air, left center field, way back, and there it goes! A 2-run shot, and it's 4-0 Nebraska on the road.
The one thing that you can tell about what Nebraska is doing at the plate, they're not guessing. And when they shorten up and just stay quick to get to the ball and use Trina's power, that is what is working for them. But a huge home run by Ernest to come up. They're not even one time through their order, and they've already scored those 4 runs.
And here's the 9-hitter, Donna Tyson. So exactly what Nebraska was hoping to do, deliver a quick punch to Trina. And just like that, a 4-0 lead, and there is action in the Alabama bullpen. They've had 3 very solid pitchers this year. The other 2 behind Trina, and Little John, the freshman, and Jury, the junior, are loosening.
You just can't stress enough the importance of coming in here, being the visiting team, and scoring in back-to-back innings against the home team, multiple runs. It's huge.
Tyson and Trina each have something in common. Trina was coached in high school by one of her teammates' fathers. Donna Tyson's father coached her and the Edwards twins. Two and two, both of their fathers. Ryan Murray, her father, Coach Jacqueline Trina, and Donna Tyson's father, Marty, both very solid coaches. Murray's dad in Florida and Donna's dad in California. Here's 2-2. Just off the corner, 3-2.
And what's important too is that there's always turning points in a series, especially in a super regional. And I mean, this is a big turning point for Nebraska early, but against Oregon last year in their super regional, there was a grand slam that was hit, but the team finally thought, hey, we can play with these guys. So they're already having that moment early in this game to give them energy and momentum.
That was Brooke Thomason who hit that last year. Got him going in game number 1. There's a walk. First one issued by Trina, and the first time through the order. Trina has been knocked around a little bit, and Patrick Murphy is going to make an early trip out to the circle here in the second. So far, Trina with 51 pitches through an inning and a third, and has given up 5 hits, including the 2-run home run from Ernest here in this second inning. Nebraska has hit 12 home runs in its now 6th NCAA tournament game so far this year. That's a new Cornhusker record for a single postseason. Patrick Murphy's looking for a solution and hoping that Trina can end this inning with no more damage done.
And to me, Alicia Armstrong set the tone from the very beginning. She hit that deep fly ball to center field, and yeah, it was an out, but she didn't go down swinging. She didn't swing and miss. She went up there and had a quality at bat to start off this game. And here she is again at the top of the order.
It was her fly out, then Decker and Edwards back-to-back hits. 2 batters later, Knighton with an RBI. That was in the first, and then here in the second, Stokes a 1-out triple followed by the Ernest 2-run home run. That's how it's gotten to 4-0 already here in the second.
And the thing about Nebraska coming in here to play Tuscaloosa, or to come into Tuscaloosa and play Alabama, is the fact that Alabama is a team that constantly gets talked about day in, day out, series in, series out. And they're okay that nobody was talking about them. They said the less that they talk about us, the better. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It matters what we think coming in this game.
Nebraska is one of only 2 unseeded teams in the Super Regionals. The Wolverines are the other, and guess what? Michigan is pounding Florida State. They're 3 defensive outs away from taking a 1-0 lead. Left center field and deep, long run from Mcclain. Look how much ground she covers out there. My goodness, 2 down. 2 flyouts from Armstrong to Mcclain.
She just gets such good jumps, and she's fearless whenever she goes after balls, and there's nothing that's hit out there that she thinks that she can't get. She made that look easy, but for some other center fielders, they might have had to lay out for that or just stretch to be able to catch that.
Fantastic defensive center fielder. Here's Decker, who singled and scored in the first. Again, 4-0 in the second inning. Not exactly insurmountable, especially for an Alabama offense that has done some really solid things in the NCAA so far, and obviously over the course of a long season has done very well. And a chance to end the inning right here for Trina. That gets past Fichtner, and on to second goes Tyson. It'll be a wild pitch. So now runner in scoring position for Decker. A ball and 2 strikes. On the ground, charging in at short is Hayes. And did she get a tag out on the runner? She did. So Tyson is the 3rd out of the inning. Fortuitous play for Hayes, but 2 more runs for the Huskers in a 4-0 lead.
A triple by Kiki Stokes. She gets on 3rd, but Austin Ernest hits a home run. It didn't matter where Kiki Stokes was at. She's going to get a couple of runs.
We're getting another look at that last play that got Donna Tyson out to end the second inning. This was a very heads-up play or a very lucky play for Danae Hayes. Either way, it was the right play to make. In stride, and it looked like she did that on purpose, just perfectly in rhythm, getting the tag out on Tyson to end the inning.
I'll just call it crafty play.
Crafty, okay.
That's a good word for it.
Good play by Hayes at short there to close out another 2-run inning. 4-0. Nebraska has the lead, and now the Alabama offense does get to go back to work with Fichtner, Lafaele, and Runyon against Tatum Edwards. And a confident Nebraska bunch. Game 1 tonight, Game 2 tomorrow night here from Tuscaloosa. Game 3 tomorrow night if necessary as well. Just impressed by the 2 unseeded teams in the Super so far. Michigan is up 17-3 on Florida State on the road in Tallahassee. The other unseeded team. And then Nebraska coming in here to another tough place to play in Tuscaloosa and getting 4 in the first 2 innings. Although I'm not going to sit here and tell you, if you're watching, that we're surprised at all. Obviously, we get a much bigger look at these teams over the course of a season, but not shocked that Michigan and Nebraska are both off to good starts.
2 Big Ten teams.
They're the only 2 unseeded in the Supers. There's a 4-pitch walk to Fichtner, and Lafayette will come to the plate. Both of those teams, Nebraska and Michigan, made some history to get here. Since the Super Regional era began, that was in 2005, only one unseeded team had ever come out of the loser's bracket of a regional to advance to the Supers. That was Jacksonville State in 2009 against Tennessee. Suddenly, last week, Nebraska did it, and then a couple of hours later, Michigan did it against Arizona State. Here's Lafayette. 5 straight out of the zone to start the inning for Tatum Edwards.
It's so important your team gets you a 4-run lead to be able to challenge the hitters, even if it means throwing it right down the middle. Your ball is moving good enough to where you can get some ground ball outs to your infield. But a free pass with the 4-run lead, especially the leadoff.
That one came inside, and that hit Lafayette. 6 straight out of the zone, and 2 on for Alabama. We said it, this offense can get going in a hurry.
Just a drop ball that she's trying to throw on the inside part of the plate.
So Lori Sipple is going to go out and have a chat with Tatum Edwards. Lori Sipple, the outstanding pitching coach and former Nebraska Cornhusker, in the circle. Talking to Tatum and Taylor Edwards. Sipple had a very solid Nebraska career. Rhonda Revelle was a Nebraska Cornhusker in her collegiate career. Very impressive coaching staffs for both of these 2 teams.
Coach Sipple is one of those coaches that just always can find a way to fix anything. And if she doesn't know the answer, she can go find an answer and try to help her staff.
So 2 on and nobody out for Marissa Runyon. A walk to Fichtner, and Lafayette hit with a pitch. Runyon 4 home runs this season. And she takes ball 1. Yet to throw a strike in this inning, Tatum Edwards. And the runners take off on that down and away pitch, and the throw from Taylor Edwards gets away. Taking off from third is Fichtner, and she'll score. Lafayette into third, and just like that, the Tide are on the board. And because the ball went into the dugout, Lafayette gets home plate, and it's 4-2. Now the first base umpire, Craig Hyde, is going to rule that Lafayette has to go back to third.
And Fichtner gets in there, and that ball actually hits off of the umpire and rolls into the dugout. Fichtner for sure is going to score. And Lafayette ran home, but then was sent back to third base. So it looked like she was going to score, and that was going to be 2 runs for Alabama, but now she's back at third base.
Well, for just joining us from Tallahassee, you came into a very awkward time. It's a 4-1 game, and the crowd all of a sudden is back into it with the tie up in the bottom of the second. The Huskers scored 2 off Jacqueline Traina in the first and 2 in the second. Alabama batting in the bottom of the second with Marissa Runyon at the plate. The count 3 balls and no strikes. Adam Amin, 2-time All-American Amanda Scarborough with you from Tuscaloosa, Alabama for game 1 of this Super Regional. The unseeded Nebraska Cornhuskers and the 2nd overall seed Alabama Crimson Tide. There's a strike, the first one of this inning, with 3 batters having already seen a pitch from Tatum Edwards. The Huskers scored twice off Traina with RBIs from Tatum Edwards and MJ Knighton in the first. There's a ground ball into right field, base hit. Runyon drives Lafayette home, and the Tide have just like that cut the deficit in half here in the bottom of the second.
Well, the infield was squeezed in, especially Haley Decker, the second baseman. A drop ball that's low and in, and Marissa Runyon just pretty much makes contact with it and finds a hole in the 3-4 spot. Good enough for an RBI.
Crowd is alive again here in Tuscaloosa, and here's Danae Hayes. In the second inning, Nebraska got a triple from Kiki Stokes and then a 2-run Austin Ernest home run. So 2 innings in, and Jacqueline Traina had been rattled right away by a very good Nebraska offense. But Tatum Edwards has had a ton of control issues here in the bottom of the second. And already 1 run across on a pass ball and then another on a Runyon RBI.
One of the hardest things to do sometimes for a pitcher is pitch with a lead. When you have a lead, sometimes you try to be too perfect and you try to force the pitches that are going to be over the plate. And then what you end up doing is throwing more balls, giving up some more free passes.
2 balls and a strike to Danae Hayes, the number 8 hitter in the Alabama lineup. The Crimson Tide, the number 2 overall seed, were 26-3 at Rhodes Stadium here in Tuscaloosa. SEC regular season outright champions. Nebraska, one of the best road teams in the country, won 18 on the road this year. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Huskers went 18 wins, incredibly. That's second most road wins in the country, so they're not intimidated coming into this environment. Rhonda Revell's team got out to an excellent start, trying to do what they did a season ago and win 2 of 3 on the road in the Supers. Little cue shot back to the circle. Tatum Edwards gets the first out. On to second goes Marissa Runyon. Hayes, the number 8 hitter, retired. Here is a look at the Alabama starting lineup. It comes to you presented by Capital One. This is what's happened so far as well. Nothing really doing in that first inning. McClain, the outstanding leadoff hitter. Spencer had a massive NCAA regional last week. Now here in this second, Runyon with an RBI and a couple of runs across for the Alabama Crimson Tide. 1 away for Peyton Grantham, the number 9 hitter and the 3rd baseman for Alabama. Nebraska, meanwhile, 44 wins, 16 losses. They shared the Big Ten regular season championship with Michigan. So the 2 Big Ten teams off to good starts tonight. Michigan blowing out Florida State 17-3. The Huskers were up 4-0 before the Tide have scored twice here in the second. That's about all you need to know so far. You got a long way to go tonight here in Game 1 in Tuscaloosa. One and two.
And a couple of pitches where Tatum Edwards is really starting to find the strike zone and just where this umpire is going to call it for her. Really good height for a couple of drop balls that Grantham actually took. But it's a positive plus for Tatum out in the circle.
2-2.
And that's really what her success comes down to, is Tatum Edwards being able to find the strike zone and be able to get ahead of these hitters.
Second strikeout for Tatum Edwards tonight, and there are 2 down. And back to the top of the order for Alabama, and that'll be Hailey Mcclain.
This is why it's so important for her to just trust her stuff. That drop ball just falls off the table. Look at how it just drops right at the end. And it even has a little bit of in movement to it as well.
That's going on 2 planes right there. Edwards has shown a lot of movement early. McClain popped out on a long at bat, her first time up. The SEC batting champion this year takes an unfavorable strike, according to the Alabama fans here at the Rhodes House. You can make an argument that Hailey Mcclain is the top leadoff hitter in the country. True 5-tool player, a finalist for the National Player of the Year award, one of the final 10 up for that award this year. That award got slimmed down to 3 this week. You saw 2 of those players in the previous game here on ESPN, and Sierra Romero and Lacey Waldrop. The other is Ali Carta of UCLA. Runyon at second. She drove in a run. 2 balls and a strike.
McClain, just such good hand-eye coordination. He used to play some ping pong, she told us. I'm sure that helped out a little bit, but She said she's just seeing the ball big. Between her and Hailey Decker from Nebraska, those were direct quotes from their mouth about how they felt offensively and felt like they were swinging it, staying hot into the regional.
Weighted back, sends it to left for Woolman, and that'll do it for the Tide here in the second. But after the Huskers scored 2 in the first, 2 in the second, the Tide answer back with 2 more in their half of the second. And a wild one already through just 2 innings, 4-2. The Huskers lead the Tide, and it's time for our Pick You Up moment of the game, brought to you by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. It came in the first against Jacqueline Traina. Tatum Edwards picking up her own cause, driving in Hailey Decker to get Nebraska on the board, and then 2 batters later, the freshman MJ Knighton driving Tatum Edwards in. Like that, it was 2-0. Austin Ernest hit a 2-run home run in the second for the Huskers, and the Tide, you just saw, answered back with a couple of runs of their own. Here's Nebraska's starting lineup. It's brought to you by Capital One. You see what they have done so far, 1+ time through the lineup against Jacqueline Traina, and we'll see if Traina can settle in this third inning a little bit.
Well, really great at bats, 1 through 9, lots of foul balls, really making Jacqueline Traina work in the circle.
Nebraska offensively very similar to Alabama. They have a little bit more power. They've stolen a few more bases. So far, they've made Traina work, as Amanda mentioned, to the tune of 59 pitches through 2 innings already.
And then 4 runs through 2 innings pitched. Not something that you see very often off of Jacqueline Traina, but let me tell you, this Nebraska team came in fired up, ready to take on this Alabama team in Tuscaloosa.
Traina only allowed 1 run in 14 innings in the NCAA regional, already 4 so far, as Callie Case digs in. Oh, excuse me, I should say Tatum Edwards digs in and takes a strike. Jacqueline Traina led this Alabama team to a 2012 national championship, the first by an SEC team in the sport's history. Last year dealt with a lot of fatigue, and understandably so. Last season, after the 288 innings she pitched as a sophomore, just wasn't as sharp, dealt with arm fatigue and injuries for really the entire second half of the season, and then did not do anything during the summer per Patrick Murphy's request. 1-2. Check swing roller to short, picked up by Hayes. 1 away here in the third.
Well, the amount of innings that she threw, she said, even surprised her. She said she was just flipping around the media guide last year, and she looked at the amount of innings that she had thrown in that 2012 season, and it surprised her. She's not one to pay attention to stats or really the real details and names of the opposing team, but she looked at that stat and she was like, whoa, I threw that many innings?
There's Taylor Edwards, twin sister of Tatum. Taylor, the all-time Nebraska home run leader with 54 in her career. She broke the Nebraska record during the NCAA regional in Missouri last week. Nebraska, an unseeded team, 1 of 2, like Michigan. Both of them had to work through the losers bracket on the road to get to this point. Both had to beat the seeded teams twice on Sunday, and the Huskers did so, as did the Wolverines against Arizona State. We could have seen Alabama-Missouri, an SEC matchup here in the Supers. There's a strike.
And Traina's doing a nice job of mixing in that off-speed pitch. And her pitching coach, Stephanie Van Brakel, does a nice job of pitch calling and mixing up pitches from inning to inning. No 2 innings are going to look just alike with the pitch calling coming from inside the dugout.
Two balls and 2 strikes, and there is Stephanie Van Brakel, the 2006 SEC Pitcher of the Year, now in her 3rd season, helped lead this team to its first SEC regular season title. They've now won 5, including this year under Patrick Murphy. 2-2. Popped up on a play.
And when I say she does a nice job of pitch calling, it means she doesn't get into a pattern. She doesn't normally let offenses really just get their feet set in there and can guess is what Trina is about to offer up to them.
You sound like a broken record. Every week we're together, you're talking about unpredictability and how important it is for a pitcher night in and night out. 2-2. Just nubbed it to Grantham at third. 2 down.
Well, what helps with that is the fact that Trina feels like she can go out there and compete and throw any pitch for a strike. When I asked her yesterday what her favorite pitch to throw is, she said, whatever is working that day, that's my favorite pitch. And that's what I'm going to throw that day. So she allows Stephanie Van Brakel to mix up the pitch calling and be unpredictable with her in the circle.
Here's MJ Knighton, a freshman who drove in the second Nebraska run in the first inning. Again, it was the summer of Trina this past summer. She's from Naples, Florida. There's a nice beach down there, and she spent a lot of time on that beach just trying to recover and get healthy and take softball off of her mind for a little while. Patrick Murphy would smile because Jacqueline Trina would send him photos of just the beach, just the sun, just the water, just the beach, maybe a hot dog or something that she said she would enjoy, and that was about it. That's all she did during the summer, and she looks refreshed and healthy and mentally strong again. Line shot to Hayes, and Trina with a bounce back 1-2-3 inning. Bottom of the third, 4-2 Huskers. Austin Ernest has been a big part of this ball game already. As we recap you on what's happened so far, we head to the bottom of the third, 4-2 Nebraska lead. They got it going in the first inning. Tatum Edwards helping her own cause, an RBI double. MJ Knighton had an RBI single in that first inning. And then after a Kiki Stokes triple, Austin Ernest to left center field under the scoreboard for a 2-run shot. That made it 4-0. Then in the third, or in the bottom of the second rather, Marissa Runyon driving in a second run after one had already scored on a pass ball and a throwing error by the catcher Taylor Edwards. That's how we've gotten to this point in a wild game one already. It's 4-2 with Case, Hunt, and Spencer coming up for the tie.
Well, what's not in there that could easily be in there were the couple of walks that led off the second inning for Alabama.
That got the offense kind of just jump-started a little bit after Edwards has been very solid early, but had control issues to start that second inning. Threw 9 straight out of the zone to start that second. And Amanda mentioned it. There are issues for Tatum Edwards. As good of a pitcher as she is, was the Big Ten Pitcher of the Year last year. Control issues have been an issue. Over 110 walks, 40 hit batsmen this season. And because she's got so much movement, she's going to have some points of erratic pitching. And she had one to start that second inning. Has Case 1 and 2 here.
So important to really be able to establish the strike zone on both sides of the plate and understand what the umpire's strike zone is and be able to throw to his strike zone. You can't throw to what you think is a strike. You have to throw to the umpire's strike zone. And that might sound like, well, of course you have to, but there are some pitchers who will be stubborn and just keep throwing the same pitch over and over again and keep getting it called for a ball. But a real veteran pitcher, a pitcher with experience, a pitcher who can take it pitch by pitch, is going to find the umpire's strike zone sooner rather than later.
Waited back on that change and pokes it into center field for a leadoff single here in the third.
Trying to mix speeds, but as this game goes on, Alabama's got to understand what her changeup looks like. The pitch location just a little bit up in the zone, easy for a slapper to make contact with. Take a look at the spot. That's just too far high. She's going to make an adjustment, try to get that pitch to take some bite down to complement her down-moving drop ball.
Case, a very good base stealer, 24 of 29 in her career, is aboard for Hunt. A great power hitter. I mentioned it to you the last time these two teams met. Alabama run ruled Nebraska. That was in February of 2010. Charlotte Morgan was one of 3 Alabama players to hit a home run in that game. Kayla Hunt smokes one into the dugout. She is 1 home run shy of tying Charlotte Morgan for 2nd all-time in Alabama history. 57 career bombs for Kayla Hunt. Number 1 on the list is the great Kelly Kretschmann, who had 60 of them, 4-time All-American.
Well, Kayla Hunt said in clutch situations, in clutch moments, which Kayla Hunt is known as a clutch hitter, it's so important for her to not get too high in those clutch moments and really control your emotions. And that can go for any hitter. That's what defines a great hitter, is to be able to come up with runners in scoring position and be able to still take it 1 pitch at a time. Really feel the moment, be in the moment, and be present.
It's more about process and approach with runners in scoring position than it is just about anything. A lot of people will tell you the runners in scoring position stat can be skewed because is it a repeatable thing to, oh, just because there's a runner at second, you're trying to hit more smartly? Wouldn't you want to hit that way anyway? Well, really, it's about the process and the approach of how you handle an at-bat when there is somebody at second and you do need a base hit, more than just working a count or something along those lines.
Hitting is just so mental. That's exactly what it comes down to. I get to have this opportunity versus I have to do this.
The former being the more positive one.
Exactly.
3-2. That one is ball 4. It gets through the legs of Taylor Edwards. A 3rd walk issued by Tatum Edwards. Now runners at first and second with nobody out, and the Nebraska bullpen is up and going already. Behind the senior Tatum Edwards, it's the sophomore Emily Lockman, who's been very good the last year and a half. She's a reliable pitcher who got a win in Oregon last year during the Super Regionals against the Ducks. She actually won the clincher last year, and she's loosening up behind Tatum.
I think one of the reasons that Tatum Edwards has so many hit by pitches because she starts on the far right side of the pitching rubber. If you take a look at where she starts every pitch, and her stride actually goes a lot more to the left. And when that happens, when she tries to throw a drop ball on the inside part of the plate, you noticed it too, Adam. Not only is it going to drop, but it's actually going to go inside a little bit too and cut like a screwball. So because of how she starts and where her stride is, it kind of gets that drop ball low and in to ride inside to these right-handed hitters and hit them.
So 60 pitches already for Tatum Edwards, as she's gone 2+ so far. And just like that, the go-ahead run is at the plate in Jaden Spencer, who has been outstanding in terms of her power this season. A dozen home runs for the junior from Iowa, including the great NCAA regional last weekend. Ball 1 upstairs. Bunt shown by Spencer. Runner off the bag at second. Throw by Taylor Edwards. In time to get Callie Case. Taylor Edwards is a very good defensive catcher, and Case just got caught off the bag a little too far, and a huge first out.
Case expecting this bunt to be put down by Spencer, trying to get a couple of steps towards third base, and a throw right on the money to Armstrong to get that out. That is a big out for Edwards back behind the plate.
And now 1-2 on Jaden Spencer. Well, Taylor picking up her twin Tatum. We said it, the Alabama running game is very good. Taylor Edwards is also very good behind the plate. It's going to be a fun matchup this weekend here in Tuscaloosa. 1-2 to Spencer. Went chasing one, and there's strike 3. Third K for Tatum Edwards, and very similar to the strikeouts that we've already seen, a pitch moving on multiple planes.
Just a nice drop ball, low and in, great movement. But what I noticed about Tatum Edwards is after the conference with Lori Sipple, she moved more towards the center of the rubber to where now that drop ball is moving in over the plate instead of moving in and hitting the hitters. All about where her feet are starting on the pitching rubber. The adjustment that she made from the beginning of the game, the adjustment that she currently made in the middle of this third inning.
It may sound like a silly analogy, but it's kind of like a bowler. Where your feet are hugely important to where a ball is going to move, because your arm's going to go the same way, pitch by pitch, roll by roll. It all depends on where your feet are to see where that ball is going to end up.
And all about in-game adjustments. Every game is going to be a different game for what your pitches are doing. You have to be able to adjust.
On the ground, down the line and off the glove of Knighton. Into the corner and grabbed by Woolman. Stopping at second is Hunt. And Fichtner is aboard with a 2-out single.
And MJ Knighton is playing about 3 steps off of the third base line. And all Fichtner had to do was find a hole. She can dive for it. Would have probably been better if she tried to stay on her feet to try to scoop that one up, just turn her hips and go. But just found a hole.
So now Leona Lafayette to the plate. Strike one. Lafayette was hit by a pitch, and then a wild play that had Fichtner at second, Lafayette at first. A pass ball allowed both Fichtner and Lafayette to move up a bag, and then a throwing error by Taylor Edwards allowed both to take another base and Fichtner to score. Lafayette scored on the Runyon RBI. That made it 4-2. That was in the second, and now Alabama trying to keep tacking on. Taylor Edwards asked for the appeal, and no swing, says Craig Hyde. 2-1. With a roller to third, Knighton will tag the bag at third to end the inning. A huge play in this inning came from Taylor Edwards. Callie Case with 2 on and nobody out. Taylor Edwards, as good as she has been defensively all season, gets that out, then the second out from Spencer. And the Tide go empty in the third. We'll talk with their head coach on the other side of this break. The SEC Coach of the Year, Pat Murphy's coming up. Wild few innings in game one here in Tuscaloosa. We added the fourth, 4-2 Huskers. We talked with the coach of the Tide. Patrick Murphy is with us. Coach, what was your message to Jacqueline Traina after that rough start, and what do you think has happened since?
Well, she needs to mix up her speeds a little bit, keep the change up low. The kid that hit the triple, it was about bell tie, and you and I can hit that pitch, but just keep mixing up the pitches, use both sides of the plate, and make the ball spin.
When facing a drop ball pitcher like Tatum Edwards, what do you feel like is the best approach to go at hitting her?
Well, number one, you got to make her bring it up a little bit. You can't swing, you know, in the dirt or even low at your ankles. You got to make her bring it up. And then the goal would actually be to let it drop a little bit and then put it right up the middle. Molly did a good job. She just hooked around it and got it down the line. Runyon got it in the 3-4 hole in the second inning. But we need to make her bring it up, and then when she brings it up, we need to hit that pitch.
Coach, as always, thanks for the time.
Okay, thanks for being here, you guys.
Patrick Murphy, the SEC Coach of the Year. Seemingly trying to settle down a little bit, a 1-2-3 third. She's now retired the last 5. She had a great weekend last weekend, but after pitching a couple of complete games where she was essentially dominant, had to face a very potent offense, and the Huskers were going right after Traina early. Got 4 runs in the first 2 innings. Traina seemingly settling, and she faces Muir to lead off this fourth. It'll be Muir and then Stokes, couple of lefties. Followed by Ernest, who hit the home run. In the air to left. Case racing back, twisting and turning, and it's over her head. On to second going is Muir, and she'll slide in with a double to lead off this fourth.
When you watch Nebraska swing, they're not taking these big hacks. They're just getting to contact, eyes down, going with a pitch, especially a pitch that's up in the zone, something that Coach Murphy just talked about he wanted Trina to be a little bit better at, but about belt high. And Muir starting out this inning with a double.
So she's aboard for Stokes. See what Stokes does here. Maybe she tries to put down a sacrifice. Corners are playing in, expecting it. There's a strike. Snap throw down to second base, and it's off the glove of Hunt. Lafayette will come over along with Hayes to back it up. So not a bad bounce. If there's going to be a bounce, that's not a bad one to have.
Didn't get too far away.
Yep. Fichtner on the season has done a decent job. 7 out of 25 she's thrown out. We're trying to steal a bag on her. Not counting the pickoffs that she does have a couple. Stokes bounces it to the right. Tough play for Hunt. She makes it quickly, and there's one away. On to third goes Muir.
And you mentioned a sacrifice bunt, but Lori Sipple is clapping her hands after that ground ball to the right side, because in that situation with the runner at second base, that's what you call execution, hitting behind the runner and moving her up 60 feet.
Well executed by Stokes, and that'll bring up Ernest. A long at bat. Took 7 pitches. And Ernest ended up with a home run that kept on carrying over the left center field wall under the scoreboard. A 2-run shot that made it 4-0 at the time. That was in the second.
And they're hitting more home runs this year, due in large part to Diane Miller, their hitting coach. She also coaches first base. And we asked him, what are you doing to hit more home runs? And Coach Revelle said, our team's not trying to hit home runs.
Right.
They just come. We do a lot of drills that work on creating backspin, and the results just happen because of that.
And there for a strike. Lori Miller is now in her 6th season as the hitting coach for the Cornhuskers. Very solid career at the Division II level as a player. And this offense has done some very impressive things in the last 4 or 5 years. And the last 3 especially, moving into the Big Ten from the Big 12. Inside out swing, foul down the line and out of play. They were moves to 1-2, and this was the first at bat tonight for Ernest.
An inside pitch about belt high, and she just takes it to the left center field. A lot of energy for that freshman running around the bases.
Out of California, the freshman. A lot of West Coast girls, good chunk of them for Nebraska. Rhonda Revelle is an Oregon native. We find some on the West Coast. 1-2. Outside of the count, even at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I feel like Nebraska's doing a nice job too of understanding what's a ball, understanding what's a strike, and swinging at strikes, due in large part to vision training that they've been doing throughout the year, more than ever this year. And the players taking ownership in that vision training. And what they do is they set up a machine that pumps out tennis balls, and they have 2 different colors, black and red. Obviously, that's their Nebraska colors, and they have numbers on them. And when you feel comfortable, you'll speed the machine up a little bit, but you'll just watch it come in. You'll say black 11, red 7, but it develops seeing the ball.
Hand-eye drills. 3-2. High chop back up the middle and off both the gloves of Hayes and Hunt, and in to score is Muir. Nebraska takes a 3-run lead here in the 4th. Infield RBI single for Ernest on a tough play up the middle, and these are situations where you keep fighting off a great pitcher like Trina, and it does pay off, and the change has been very apparent, as Amanda was talking about. Look at this, the numbers, the power numbers, the average, the runs are up per game.
And the home run difference alone. And granted, regionals helped them out last year, or excuse me, last weekend with the amount that they hit.
They had 11 last weekend in 5 games. Here's Tyson, ball 1.
And what she provides too, Coach Miller does, is a lot of information. Coaches across the country and coaching staffs are putting so much time and energy into watching film and coming up with a good game plan. And teams are becoming trusting of that game plan. There's not as many surprises when you enter into a game against, especially like an SEC team that's on ESPN weekend in, weekend out. You can go back and watch the games. You can go back and scout.
Tyson went around 1 and 2. You can do that with Big Ten teams. You can do that with Pac-12 teams. A lot of Big 12 teams are able to do that with, especially in the South too. A conference like the Sun Belt puts some softball on TV for a good chunk of the year.
And the way that the schools even stream it too. You can go back and watch
online,
it. Yeah.
1-2. Way outside, 2 and 2.
And that's not just for Nebraska and not just for Alabama. That's across the country, and that's why you're seeing offensive numbers go up year in and year out, and pitching ERAs getting a little bit inflated. Coaching staffs are doing their homework. They're coming up with a plan.
Two. And the count runs full.
And Maddie Fowler is holding the rally stick that they just got last weekend. It says 16 strong on one side, and then right now the other side, it changes, but it says give me more.
Muscled into short right center. McClenny is there. And there are 2 down. Maddie Fowler is done for the season for Nebraska. She suffered a knee injury about 11 games, 12 games into the season. And we were actually just in Tucson last week to see Arizona, and her sister, Kenzie, the senior pitcher who has battled injury year in and year out. You want to talk about 2 unlucky but incredibly talented girls. You're looking at the Fowler sisters, Kenzie and Maddie. Their parents are here tonight, and then they're going to drive down to Lafayette, Louisiana for that super regional between the Wildcats and Ragin' Cajuns. Here's Armstrong, and she takes a strike. It's just brutal to watch because Fowler, Kenzie specifically, had so much hype going into Arizona, and now done for her career before the NCAA tournament even began. And this is the 2nd straight year that Maddie is dealing with an injury that's kept her out a chunk, if not the entire season. Herness at first, 2 out. And it's 1-1.
And unlucky is right, but okay, so you are hurt. What are you going to do about it to help your team? And both Maddie and Kenzie are consummate team players, being able to help out their teammate inside the dugout in any other way that they can outside of physically being out on the field. And their teammates give them so much credit for their attitude and leadership in the dugout.
Good stop behind the plate by Fickner, 2-1. That's straight at her. That was right down the middle, but she went down immediately and chested it right in front of her. Nowhere to go from first.
Yeah, as a catcher, you just pretty much have to give up your body. And that's a good job of down and blocking, keeping it right in front of her. Nowhere to go, just stuck it.
Two and two.
It's an off-speed drop ball with great movement down. Jacqueline Trina's teammates say that this is her best pitch whenever they're facing her in live at-bats at practice.
The off drop is about as wild in a good way as it gets. Ton of movement. Chance to limit the damage here in the 4th. 2-2. Just fought off by Armstrong, and Armstrong's had some really good at-bats. This is her 3rd trip up, but even though she hasn't gotten a hit, a couple of really tough pitches that she's spoiled.
Yeah, that's one of them right there. That was just all hands coming out of her legs and just kind of reacting last minute to get rid of that pitch to be able to extend her at bat.
Again, another tough pitch with movement that has changed speeds, that has moved around left to right, and Armstrong seeing it at the very least. We said it, Armstrong is in the leadoff spot for the 5th consecutive game and just the 17th time in her career. She was hitting down in the lineup most of the season. Kiki Stokes each of the last 2 years has been in the leadoff spot, and then a lot of different players have shifted in and out. And Rhonda Revelle finally put Armstrong back up to the leadoff spot last week after a loss in the tourney. And that was a big move for Rhonda Revelle, but she's made big moves like that in her lineup the past couple of years. And it has always seemingly paid off for a Nebraska team that continuously responds to those changes.
And as a coach, it's impressive that she notices that. She's that in tune with when she does this move, they respond in a certain way to help benefit the team.
3-2 on Armstrong. And Trina looking for that strikeout, and Armstrong continuing to just spoil all these fantastic Trina pitches.
And they're staying on the outside part of the plate, working curve drop, off-speed drop away. Nice hit bat by Armstrong. They're really making Trina work in the circle. Almost 100 pitches, and we're not even through the 4th inning.
Another payoff. Got it. Took 8 pitches to finally get Armstrong. But Austin Ernest continues to do it for Nebraska. A couple of RBIs already for her. 3 RBIs on the night. This was May the 4th when Wisconsin beat Michigan in extra innings, putting Michigan at 18-5 on the Big Ten season. That tied Nebraska. They shared the Big Ten regular season championship this year. We go to the bottom of the 4th, 5-2 Nebraska on top. Bottom of the Alabama order coming up, and Tatum Edwards was staked to a 4-0 lead after an inning and a half, but has had some control issues. That's been a problem for her most of the season. She'll go back to work against Runyon, Hayes, and Grantham. There's a strike.
And you're seeing them go back outside for a couple of pitches because the last hit that Runyon had was on a drop ball low and in. Didn't try to do too much with it, just found a hole in the 3-4 hole. And then she's got to change speeds there. So important to stay unpredictable with that changeup. Be able to throw it on any count, a hitter's count, a pitcher's count.
2-2. South Carolina native out of Myrtle Beach. 4 home runs each of her first 2 seasons as a member of Alabama. 61 home runs for Alabama as a team this year.
Nice at bat by Runyon.
6 pitches has fouled off each of the last 2.
And trying to come back inside with that drop ball, but just a little bit wild with it to try to sneak one past her. And now Runyon, she's worked herself to a full count.
Be the 9th pitch of this at bat coming up to Marissa Runyon.
We haven't seen Tatum Edwards go up in the zone that much. The rise ball is a pitch that she continues to try to develop to complement her drop ball and her changeup.
On the ground, off the bag, and off of Tyson down the line. Runyon's going to hold up at first base.
Alabama just trying to find holes down the line. We saw one down the third base line, this time down the first base line. This is just one of those balls that ends up playing Donna Tyson. Not being very aggressive to go up and get that hop to secure that out. As a drop ball pitcher, Tatum Edwards is going to throw a ton of ground balls. It's so important for the infield to be aggressive.
So Hayes is to the plate with Runyon already aboard. Can Alabama rally and string something together? Strike one.
And especially with the way that Tatum Edwards really battled against Runyon in that at bat, to be able to be aggressive on the dirt. You're going to be able to get some ground ball outs for your pitcher. You don't want to give a good hitting team extra outs in an inning. Tatum Edwards can throw that drop ball in for a strike on the knees. Regardless of whether or not that hitter is going to swing at it, it would be a called strike, but the movement on that pitch is just so tough to be able to hit as a right-handed hitter low and in. And what you'll continue to see with Tatum Edwards in this circle is that stride more to the left. And she's been working on it to try to lower those hit by pitch, but just look at the way that her left foot strides out.
Kind of going towards the left-handed batter's box a little bit.
And it's every pitch. And what that's going to do is cause that drop inside to break more in towards the hitter too, unless she can really keep her hand close to her body and not let her hip get in the way.
Back towards the shoe tops against a righty. And we've seen it multiple times tonight. Reaching out, sending it into right. Hayes, and Muir can't make the catch. Runyon had to hold up at second, but now the Tide fans on their feet. 2 on and nobody out here in the fourth.
Just a nice at bat and a very good piece of hitting, a pitch that's low and out, and Hayes just takes her hands and goes opposite field. Muir has a chance to make a catch. If she was going all out for that play and playing aggressive defense, I think that she might have caught it. And that's a big sign right now for Nebraska on defense. Continue to play aggressively, go get the ball, make these outs for your pitcher.
And a pinch hitter will come up for Peyton Grantham. It'll be Ryan Iamurray, the senior from Naples, Florida, same high school as Jacqueline Traina. .370 career hitter and a fan favorite. Suddenly represents the tying run here in the fourth. A solid hitter in a sacrifice situation to try to move 2 into scoring position for the top and very dangerous part of the Alabama order.
Well, and she's known for her short game, and in a sacrifice situation, no surprise to see her. Looks like Lori Sipple's going to call a timeout to talk to her infield, and she's known for her short game. Runner at first and second, less than 2 outs, try to move those runners into scoring position, because Hailey Mcclain, she's on deck, and she's been one of the most clutch hitters for Alabama this season.
If you didn't join us at the top, Amanda gave you a breakdown about Tatum Edwards. What have you seen? What are you seeing right now? What did you expect to see?
She's going to throw between 65, 68. She's pretty much doing that. North and south pitches, she's throwing predominantly north with her drop ball on both sides of the plate. It's important for her to stay unpredictable. That's due in large part to the pitch calling that Rhonda Revelle is going to give from inside the dugout, but she's been doing that. We're not letting hitters get too comfortable because the few hits that they've had just been those C&I singles, and Alabama is just powerfully trying to hit ground balls through the infield or hit the ball off the end of their bat and finding holes.
Jordan Patterson, the daughter of Sarah Patterson and David Patterson, the Alabama gymnastics coaches, is in at second. She's pinch running for Marissa Runyon. 1-0 on Aya Murray. 2-0.
Another thing that Aya Murray is going to do is she has a great eye. A small strike zone to throw to, and as a pitcher, you totally are aware of what that hitter is, how tall she is, what kind of strike that you are going to be able to have to throw to her.
Lays down a bunt foul. And her dad, Ryan, who mentioned it, coached both her and Jacqueline Traina in high school. Patrick Murphy knows that both of them came from a good program in Naples, Florida. A couple of seniors. 2-1. Back to the circle. Tough play with Tyson covering the bag. Tatum Edwards throws her out. A successful sacrifice. First down of the inning. And 2 in scoring position for the Tide. And now it's Mcclain coming to the plate.
And look at the high fives for Aya Murray. She goes in there to execute a sacrifice bunt, and the entire team knows what her job is. She executes it. Everybody in this stadium got up for her.
They're not even going to bug with Mcclain. They'll set up righty-righty, and they'll bring up Case, who's got a little less power and is a little less consistent, but it's still not an easy out by any means. Case is a .345 hitter, but this will load the bases and bring the go-ahead run to the plate.
And as soon as that happened, Case looked right at Mcclain. They made eye contact, and she says, "I got you." She hit her chest, "I got you."
It's interesting because Patrick Murphy talked to us about this situation. It's tough to want to lay down a sacrifice in that spot with first and second, nobody out, because he knows he's got Mcclain coming up and he knows a base is going to be open. So that's a decision he's willing to make. Go ahead and give her the base, and they're loaded for Case. I believe I said they'll set up righty. It is righty-lefty. It's my apologies, but Case does have a little less power than Mcclain. They'll deal with her instead of going after Mcclain. Knighton, the third baseman, is playing in. And it's 2-0.
The left side of the infield's playing in. Haley Decker is actually shaded a little bit back, but Armstrong and Knighton on the left side, a little bit tighter towards home plate.
Now watch where that sets up, where the left side will set up. Knighton will take those couple of steps in.
Decker plays a little bit further back
Yep.
at second base.
One grand slam already for Callie Case this season. 2 for 8 with the bases loaded this year. Nebraska last season led the country with 49 double plays. They've only turned 18 this year. Tatum Edwards begging for one right now. Bases loaded, 1 out in the 4th. Two and two. Ground ball to short, picked up by Armstrong. She'll fire home, and in time to get the force out on Jordan Patterson. That was a close play with the pinch runner coming home. They get the second out.
Close play, but a lot of focus. Alicia Armstrong comes right after to get this ball. She's the shortstop that wants to make a play, attacks it, and gets that force out at home. And as an infielder, you've got to be saying in this situation, hit it to me. I want to be the one to make a play. And Armstrong steps up.
Here's Kayla Hunt. Still bases loaded, 2 outs in the 4th. Pitch number 100 for Tatum Edwards is strike 1 to Kayla Hunt, who's 0 for 1 with a walk tonight.
This is one of those situations that Kayla Hunt talked to us about. Important to not get too high in this runner and scoring position situation. Another thing that she said about hitting better with runners in scoring position is that this year they felt like there's not as much pressure to get it done. They believe in the person who's on deck. They believe that the person behind them is going to have their back and pick them up.
On the ground to third, off the glove of Knighton, and a run will score. It's 5-3. Second error for Nebraska, both by a corner infielder.
So important to play clean infield defense back behind a drop ball pitcher. You have a chance to get out of an inning. Your pitcher rolls you a ground ball. You have to be able to make this play. Doesn't matter if you're at your home field or not. You got to be the one to step up, and there's a freshman mistake right there for Knighton.
And here's Spencer. And a first pitch in there on a changeup at 51. That's a tough pitch to throw, a hitter like Spencer.
That's part of being unpredictable, being able to throw that pitch no matter who's on and what count that you're facing.
High chopper back up the middle and grabbed by Armstrong. Here comes the runner, Case around third, and she is out at the plate. What a play by Armstrong. Mcclain does score, and the Tide get 2 in that 4th inning, but Armstrong saved 2 runs in that inning. And Patrick Murphy was not happy with the call by Terry Holt at home plate.
Well, this is the play that every shortstop wants to make. Keep the ball on the infield so that another run doesn't score. And not only does she keep the ball on the infield, she's able to make the throw, not even going towards home plate, going towards right field to her catcher, Taylor Edwards. Amazing.
5-4, 2 runs in the inning in the 4th for Alabama. We've got a close ball game once again. We'll talk with Rhonda Revelle about it on the other side. Likely 2 runs saved in that inning by the shortstop Alicia Armstrong. 1 on a force out, and then this play to end the inning after 1 was already across on the play.
Well, the fact that she even kept the ball from going deeper into the outfield was amazing. Taylor Edwards with the great tag at home. It was just huge all around. What an amazing play. We're joined now by head coach Rhonda Revelle. Coach, what kind of player is Alicia Armstrong?
Alicia is unbelievable, and I think the world knows it now.
How important is that play? How important do you think it could be?
Well, yeah, because this is interesting. I mean, this is why you play the game, right? This is exactly why you play the game. We're having a lot of fun. It's not real pretty at this moment, but having a lot of fun, and this is exactly why we play the game. We're going to keep throwing punches, and they're going to keep throwing punches, and, you know, Armstrong came up with a gigantic play for us.
Coach, is there anything in particular that you want Tatum Edwards to do better in the circle?
Well, I think just settle in and have her rhythm and hitting her pitches. She's made some tough pitches. That was a tough inning for her. We uncharacteristically didn't field some balls, and you know, we field the balls. We get out of the inning unscathed, but it is what it is, and we got to go back to work.
Coach, thanks very much for the time. Well, she told us about Alicia Armstrong, so look at Armstrong right now. We haven't mentioned this yet, and I think it's pertinent now especially. She has been dealing all fall and all season long with a tremendous back issue that's going to require her likely to have surgery at the end of the season. So whenever Nebraska's done, they're scheduling surgery on Armstrong. Here's Haley Decker to lead off the 5th inning against Trina. And Armstrong is going to be out for some time recovering. She's been battling through it. And when we talked with Rhonda Revelle about it, she said, you know, we just need her in there. And she still goes out and may not dive at as many plays as you might think. And you see the type of defense she's has the ability to play. She's not diving at certain plays. She's not going all out on certain plays just to stay in the game. She's trying to manage herself in the game and be able to have enough to go up to the plate and be able to do something as well. So that type of play is that much more impressive knowing what she's going through. Deep to left center field. Mcclain long running over her head off the wall. Decker on her way to second. Here's the relay throw, and she's safe. A leadoff double here in the 5th for Decker. So Nebraska's bats go right back to work to start the 5th.
Well, Haley Decker's told us that hitting is an attitude, and I love those 3 words, and she hits like it. A pitch that just misses over a little bit of the wide of the plate, and she makes Trina pay for it, ends up at second with a double to start this inning for Nebraska.
And that's going to be it. One batter into the 5th inning for Jacqueline Trina, and the freshman Sydney Littlejohn is coming in. 100 pitches through 4+ for Trina. The Husker bats have knocked her around for 8 and 5 runs. We're back after this. Four-plus innings for Jacqueline Trina and 100 pitches she's pulled for the time being for the freshman who had a very solid campaign at Sydney Littlejohn, who's been very important in this relief role for Alabama this year.
I think it's a good time to bring her in. You just got close within the lead, a 5-4 game at this point, bringing a change of pace, somebody who looks completely different from Jacqueline Trina.
So Littlejohn takes over, making her 28th appearance of the season. It's her 19th relief appearance on the campaign. Hasn't started a whole lot this season, has been much bigger in this relief role. Did have a pretty good couple of starts during the season. She's only thrown a third of an inning in the NCAA regionals so far. In the NCAA tournament, it was against SIU Edwardsville last week. Trina still with the glove on, trying to cheer on Littlejohn, who deals with Tatum Edwards. Decker at second base. If you're looking at SportsCenter, that's over on ESPN News right now with John Butchergross. Canadians, Rangers, you know, Bucci's got it all on lockdown for you. Landon Donovan left off the U.S. national team roster, but is there hope for him to be on the roster come the World Cup? And Prince Fielder of the Texas Rangers, dealing with a neck issue, is going to need season-ending surgery. It's already scheduled for Tuesday. That's what's leading the way on Sports Center. That's over on ESPN News right now. Here, game 1 of the Tuscaloosa Super Regional. Unseeded Nebraska and the #2 overall seed Alabama. Wild game so far. Nobody out in the 5th for the Huskers. And it's 3 balls and no strikes on Tatum Edwards, and Jacqueline Traina just never felt like she got into a long standing rhythm outside of maybe 4 or 5 batters.
And hit that 100 pitch count. Nebraska saw a ton of pitches against her, and that was their game plan. Work the pitch count, stay with her pitch by pitch, and try to raise that pitch count against her. And Nebraska was able to chase her, and that's a huge deal as an offense. You always want to try to get through that first pitcher and try to get to the bullpen. And Nebraska did a great job of that. Now they face Littlejohn, somebody who's more about spin, throws a ton of curveballs in and out.
(3-1). Missed inside, ball 4. 2 on and nobody out for the Huskers. And this weekend, the NCAA Lacrosse Championship presented by Northwestern Mutual continues on ESPN2. It was a wild opening first couple of rounds. Quarterfinals, though, saw a handful of seeds moving on, including the 2-time national champion Duke Blue Devils. You'll see them against Denver at 1 Eastern on Saturday, followed by Notre Dame and Maryland. The championship match on Monday on ESPN2. Here's Taylor Edwards, Nebraska's all-time home run leader, with 2 on and nobody out. There's a strike. And out to talk to Littlejohn is Fichtner, the catcher, and the entire infield is going to join in here.
And why is because Hailey Decker at second base was signaling to Edwards where the pitch was going to be. So as soon as Molly Fichtner back behind the plate saw that and the pitch was delivered, immediately she's going to call a timeout, talk to her pitcher, and talk to their infield to all get on the same page of pitch calling. Going to have to mix it up so that Hailey Decker cannot relay the signal to her hitter.
You see Nebraska, their hitters, and oftentimes you'll see a lot of teams with their pitchers use wristbands now. And they're making that development kind of like quarterbacks, just getting signals for numbers and more of that type of cryptic stuff and just getting corresponding signals from their wristbands. Alabama's still doing it in the old-fashioned way with the signs. They don't use the wristbands. Cindy Littlejohn does not have one on.
Seen a lot of SEC schools start to do that in order to just bypass anybody trying to pick some signals, but really it's trying to pick the signals from inside the dugout relayed to the catcher, and they're just kind of bypassing that and going dugout to pitcher right in the circle.
On the ground to third, that is a foul ball. 1-2. Ooh, the throw got away there from Grantham. The one didn't count, so that one's okay for her. You know, for a third baseman who's played a decent amount at third, and Danielle Richard has also played a good amount at third base this year for Alabama. Only 3 errors by Grantham. That's pretty good at that position.
Absolutely, the hot corner.
Grantham a freshman as well, so even more impressive that. Oh, and Fichtner thought that was strike 3, so did about 3,000 and change.
This is the pitch that Cindy Littlejohn's teammates say get them every time. A backdoor curveball that looks like it's coming right at you, then breaks over the inside corner. Fichtner thought that they had that one.
Two. Wow, a lot of movement on that pitch just out of the zone.
Yeah, a lot of movement. So they go from throwing that backdoor curveball where you saw Taylor Edwards kind of jump out of the way of it and it breaks across the inside corner, and then go to a regular curveball, which is just going to break towards the outside corner. Difference between inside and outside with a curveball.
Down the line and foul. Leadoff double by Hailey Decker to start this 5th inning. That pushed Jacqueline Traina out of the game. It was her 35th extra base hit this season as a sophomore, and now ties the Nebraska record. Traina was pulled, then Tatum Edwards came to the plate against Littlejohn. Drew a 5-pitch walk, and now Taylor Edwards will see the 7th pitch of this at bat. The bunt shown for timing. 3-2. Fouled back in our direction.
Another good at bat. These Nebraska hitters are just not going down easy.
You look down, tracking pitches and everything like that. You see a 5-pitch at bat, a 7-pitch at bat, a 9-pitch at bat, scattered about 1 through 9 in this lineup. This will be the 8th of this at bat. Freshman versus senior. In the air, left center field shallow. Hayes, the shortstop, gets the first out of the inning.
And that's a big out against Taylor Edwards, arguably the best hitter, if not one of the best hitters in the order. You just gave up a walk to Tatum Edwards to put her on first. You're a freshman going up against a senior All-American, and you get that big out for out number 1.
MJ Knighton will come to the plate. She's hit the ball hard twice. The RBI single in the first inning that brought Tatum Edwards home to make it 2-0 at the time, and then the line shot to short for an out in the 3rd.
I asked Jacqueline Trina what's the one thing that she helped Sydney Littlejohn with, and the only word that she said is confidence.
That's something that has seemingly grown as the year has gone on, as you might expect it to, with somebody like Trina mentoring a already talented pitcher like Littlejohn. You saw the performance against Missouri by Littlejohn in that series. Got a win and a save when the Tide took 2 out of 3 against the Tigers. 1-2.
And that's the part about being a great teammate that can't go unnoticed. Trina didn't go into the dugout and sit and pout when she got pulled. No, she's better than that. She wants to be there for her teammate. This entire Alabama team wants to be there for their teammates. So what can you do now? All you can do is cheer hard for the girl in the circle.
Trying to get her first punch out. I did a radio interview here in Tuscaloosa earlier today, and they asked about Nebraska because Tuscaloosa, they're more interested in the other team. And I said, you'd be surprised the similarities between these two teams, Nebraska and Alabama, not just in how many World Series they've been to, not their coaches' resumes. It's beyond that for both of these teams. 2-2. In the air, down the line. Case into foul territory. 2 down. Back to the bags go Decker and Edwards. It goes back to culture. You're looking at it with Trina for Alabama. You see it in the dugout with Nebraska. And it starts with the head coaches, certainly. A couple of Hall of Famers in Murphy and Revelle. But the culture that has been bred in Tuscaloosa and Lincoln is almost identical. And there's no surprise that these two teams have had the success they've had as programs.
Well, and you said it. It all starts at the top. It all starts at the top of the coaching staff to get everybody else to buy in and believe to build that culture.
Here's Muir, who had a double and a run scored in the 4th. Ball 1.
And quality programs, both of them, Nebraska, Alabama. Players wear their schools proudly to be a part of those programs, and just they leave the programs better people than when they initially came in. And I think that's a part that goes unnoticed about college sports. You only see the statistics and the ERAs and the wins and losses, but it's all about just creating better people once they leave the sport and learning lessons. And both of these coaches do such a nice job at that.
There's a strike. Go to Lincoln. Go to Bowden Stadium. Come to Tuscaloosa. Come to the Rhodes House. Look at the fan support that's here tonight. You'll see a lot of red in Nebraska as well. at their home park. People like winners. That's why nobody likes me.
Winners on and off the field. Good in the
Good.
classroom. And Alabama got named 4 academic All-Americans. Nebraska, on the other hand, just leads the nation in the softball world. 22 academic All-Americans.
That's right. 3 balls and a strike on Muir. Missed upstairs. That'll load the bases. Second walk since Littlejohn came into the game. And now it'll be Kiki Stokes, who already has a triple to her name in this game.
And important, and just similar to Tatum Edwards, when Littlejohn comes in the strike zone, she's tough to hit. Timing is all messed up for Nebraska. They just faced somebody in Trina who was throwing 69, 70 miles an hour, and now Sydney comes in, just spins the ball. She's more of a thumber, has good movement. It's deceptive. And that's the pitch that she's not getting called to a right-handed hitter or to a left-handed hitter, is that backdoor curveball that's just catching the outside part of the plate or not catching the outside part of the plate. If you ask the umpire, it's a very good spot, just not getting it called.
'25th pitch of the inning is line foul. And the count even at a ball and a strike on Stokes. That's on her season so far. The Texas native Littlejohn against the Kansas native Stokes. 1-1. In the air, right center field. Mcclain ranging back at the wall. Inning over. A little stressful. Trina got pulled. Littlejohn gets the 3 outs and leaves them loaded. 1-run game to the bottom of the 5th. Game 1's getting away tonight. We saw Florida State and Michigan earlier tonight. The lone 2 unseeded teams, Michigan and Nebraska, in action. The most runs that Florida State has allowed in program history. 17-3 the final as the Wolverines take a 1-0 lead on the road. Oregon and Minnesota directly matched up. You'll see Eugene and Howe Field jacked up come Saturday as Molly Fichtner leads it off for the Tide here in the bottom of the 5th inning. That'll be fun too. Jessica Allister, the head coach of Minnesota, former assistant for Mike White at Oregon. Fun storyline to keep track of this weekend out west.
Yeah, she's done a great job with that program. Minnesota and Super Regionals going up against the 1 seed. And reminds me, the Big Ten coaches are just so close and tight-knit. Wanda Ravel was talking about how she had a chance to talk to McAllister, and they talked to Hutch over at Michigan. And in my mind, and even I asked Ravel about it, I said, do you feel like you guys are the closest coaching staff out of any conference? She said, yeah, I think that we are.
Pretty tight-knit.
And she has something to compare it to, too, with coming from the Big 12.
Fichtner's been aboard twice, a walk, a run scored, a single. Last year, it was this Nebraska team that ended Oregon's campaign. They won 2 of 3 on the road. Tatum Edwards pitched the first 2 games of that series, including taking the loss in an 11-inning Oregon comeback in game 2. On the ground to third, Knighton sucks it up, and 1 down. Emily Lockman ended up pitching the clincher. The freshman season ended up getting the clincher in that series. Sheridan Hawkins had a great performance in relief in game 2 last year, but a fine performance by Nebraska, trying to do what it did a year ago and go on the road to one of the tougher environments in the country and win 2 out of 3.
Well, it didn't get any easier whenever they went to Oklahoma City in a couple of extra inning games. They lost by 1 run. That game against Florida was epic.
Epic, both of them, really. First pitch in there for a strike to Lafayette.
And those are the kind of games that the postseason brings, especially Oklahoma City.
No doubt.
That's where you're playing to get. That's what this game is for. It's where you want to end up.
Chopper to short. Gloved by Armstrong. 2 down. And a reminder that the NCAA Lacrosse Championship presented by Northwestern Mutual continues on ESPN2 Saturday at 1. The #1 overall seed, Duke, which has won 2 titles in the last 4 years, taking on Denver. Then Notre Dame and Maryland following at 3:30 on ESPN2. The championship match Monday at 1 on ESPN2. Both semis and the championship available on Watch ESPN as well. Well, Marissa Runyon, who was pinch run for by Jordan Patterson in that 4th inning. Patterson was tagged out on that wild play with Alicia Armstrong throwing home to prevent another run from scoring. That would have been the 5th Alabama run.
And we talked about that Armstrong play and how amazing it was, but Coach Revelle said don't be surprised if you don't see her diving, because she kind of has that out because of her back problems. And she doesn't even take ground balls during the week. She just comes and shows up for game day, and that's just how uncomfortable she is. But Coach Revelle called her a warrior.
Now look at her. She's just still kind of laboring. She'll squat down to try to stretch between pitches. Just moving a little more gingerly than you would expect. Armstrong and Haley Decker up the middle. They were freshman middle infielders last year. And like we said, they led the country in double plays turn with a freshman infield. There's a good change and a strike, and it's 2-2, and a chance for Tatum Edwards to put the tie down in order for the first time tonight. Well, it has been stressful inning after stressful inning for all 3 pitchers we've seen so far.
Yes.
Amanda's cringing every time she looks down at her card and realizes that outside of one Jacqueline Traina 1-2-3 inning in the 3rd, there hasn't been a single perfect frame outside of that.
There's just so many nerves running through you in the circle. You feel the crowd get up, you try to ignore it, but you still hear it. Try to block it out before you get on the rubber and you go to throw that next pitch. But in between pitches, you better believe that you hear it.
Emily Pitek right in the front row in her usual spot.
Yeah.
Line drive center field, base hit. Runyon with her 2nd hit of the night. And the tying run is on base here in the 5th.
Runyon does a nice job of hitting the drop ball. Got a hit off of a drop ball in her first at bat, and then another low and in pitch that's almost at her ankles, but she does such a good job of just dropping her barrel head to get to the ball, to get to contact. Beautiful line drive right back up the middle.
So that'll bring up Danae Hayes. A single, a run scored, a ground out so far. And that one gets away. That ends up hitting Hayes. 2nd hit batsman tonight by Tatum Edwards in the 41st of her season. And that'll bring up Peyton Grantham. Well, Grantham was pinch hit for last time her spot in the order was due up. Ryan Murray came up, sacrificed a couple of runners over, and that was an inning where 2 runs did come in and score for Alabama. Grantham, who re-entered the game defensively, will come to the plate. She struck out in her lone at bat. And now Emily Lockman, the sophomore, is back up in the pen and loosening up behind Tatum Edwards for the Huskers.
Well, the one thing that Kayla Hunt told us was different from last year in 2013 to this year with their offensive approach was that they didn't make very good adjustments. They didn't make them fast enough in the Super Regional against Tennessee. But she said that this team, we're better at that this year. We learned from our at-bats, we trust the plan and go with it. And you still have an out to give in this inning and at least 2 more innings to be played. So important to go back to that, to be able to make adjustments, especially with the leadoff hitter, Hailey Mcclain, on deck.
Little flare towards short, knocked away by Armstrong. Everybody's safe. They're loaded for Mcclain.
And Armstrong didn't really get a great jump. It looked like even from up here that the ball was going to go a lot deeper than it really did. It just kind of died. It had spin that just killed it to go right in front of her. And because maybe her back is a little bit sore, wasn't able to really get down on that short hop to field it cleanly.
They're loaded for Mcclain. The error extends the inning, the third Nebraska error of this game. Mcclain is 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. Armstrong, who's made 2 fantastic run-saving plays tonight, could not make that one, and it allows one of the best hitters in the country, the SEC batting champ, to come to the plate with a chance to tie or take the lead.
And I think that's a good call for a timeout right there. This crowd is into it. Go talk to your pitcher. Go talk to your sister.
Big strike one. 2 balls and a strike on Mcclain. Red hot coming into this Super Regional on a 16-game hit streak to tie a career high. 7 of 9 with a grand slam with the bases loaded this season. A chance to turn this game around for the Tide, who trailed 4-0 after an inning and a half. 2-1. Strike 2.
You go outside with the drop ball for a called strike, and then you just paint the inside corner with the drop ball on the inside part of the plate. Beautiful pitch. And remember, it's not time to gear up for a home run right here. Just try to hit it through the infield, shorten up.
Chopper to short. Armstrong to second, and in time to end the inning. Sidney Littlejohn left the bases loaded in the last half inning. Tatum Edwards gets out of a jam, leaving him loaded in the bottom of the 5th. To the 6th in a 1-run game. The Cornhuskers have not lost when leading after 5 this year.
College World Series is what our goal is every year.
Every young kid wants to be in the College World Series and play on TV.
Stepping out on the field, you feel like you're a fish in a fish tank. The atmosphere is unreal.
There's really nothing like Oklahoma City. It's just something that you strive to get to ever since you're a little girl. One team, one goal, one place. We're trying to end up at the World Series.
And of course, the Women's College World Series returns to Oklahoma City. The action begins Thursday, May the 29th at noon Eastern on ESPN. And for more information on the 2014 Women's College World Series, you can log on to NCAA.com, the official online home for all 89 NCAA championships. Game 1 in Tuscaloosa. Adam Amin, 2-time All-American Amanda Scarborough, our fantastic crew at Rhodes Stadium. And Austin Ernest having a night, leading it off against Sidney Littlejohn here in the top of the 6th inning. Already a 2-run home run in the 2nd, which made it 4-0 Nebraska. And then the RBI infield single in the 4th, which was Nebraska's 5th run. And for the time being, that's the winning run. Littlejohn ahead 0-2 with some good movement.
And she's done a nice job of coming in here and being able to be a different look, different speed than what we saw to Jacqueline Traina, who started this game. Very good movement that the freshman has.
And that's a defensive swing right there from Ernest on a pitch that was tailing down and away. She reached out and just got a piece.
And Alabama, too, has another pitcher, Leslie Drury, but she throws harder than Sidney Littlejohn. So I think it's a good move to bring Littlejohn in. A total change of speeds, change of timing.
There's some more of that movement tailing down and away. That time Ernest laid off. Looking for her first strikeout, and here's the 1-2. Ooh, went down to 50. No swing, says Craig Hyde. And the count 2-2.
Just working that curveball. Sydney Littlejohn has great curveball spin. Could throw it backdoor, off speed, regular curveball, but the key is her spin and the way that she snaps it and releases it to give it that really great movement.
In the air, left center field, McClain back. Underneath for the first out.
You know, Adam, I think if these games were in Tucson, then a couple of these hits would be out of here.
Absolutely. Where we were last week, we saw, I mean, the amount of home runs that we saw last week was insane to begin with. 197 home runs in 103 regional games. That's off the charts. And you and I saw 25 of them. So about an eighth of those home runs we got a chance to see in Tucson as Tyson takes a strike.
And that'll be a great one to watch, Arizona and ULL.
See that on ESPNU all weekend. The Wildcats go on the road. Mike Candrea's team, Michael Latif's team, two offensive juggernauts going at it down at Lamson Park.
And what Sydney Littlejohn, too, is utilizing with her spin is being a little bit slower of a pitcher, and she's getting Nebraska to pop up a lot. They're not quite just squaring up to the pitches that she's throwing, letting their barrel head drop a little bit because she is slower. Timing's off.
I was going to say all four, and now all five of her outs are pop-ups, and somebody had to make a play. It was Grantham, the freshman third baseman. Who do you put that on? Because Grantham came all the way from third. There were three defenders, and you can throw Littlejohn out there because she's the pitcher. Somebody's got to make that play. It shouldn't have to be the third baseman.
Well, where was Lafaile at first base? And a good communication, too, because she's looking at Fickner, and Grantham says, okay, I got it.
Whatever. Here I come.
And if she's calling it, she's got to go get it.
Yeah.
You call that, it is your job to go and get that ball.
Here's Armstrong. And she has to jump out of the way of that first offering. Let's take a look at Armstrong here, just to see how she's moving. If you maybe notice anything or you actually catch something. Again, she is just battling through a back injury, and she's made two huge plays to save a run. She had an error that allowed a run to score as well. There's a strike on Armstrong.
Then she tries to be sneaky and show drag on that pitch.
Fouled back.
That's a great off-speed curveball. 52 miles an hour, taking about 8 to 10 miles an hour off of her hardest stuff.
And a chance to close out a rare 1-2-3 inning in this game. Trina did it one time in her 4+ innings. Littlejohn still hasn't allowed a hit. Trying to end a scoreless sixth. 1-2. Got him. Alabama down by one, and some big bats coming up. Arguably one of the biggest bats in Alabama history is due up second. Kayla Hunt's got 57 in her career. Game one in Tuscaloosa. The winner in this best 2 out of 3 is moving on to the Women's College World Series. They'll face either Oklahoma and Tennessee to open up in OKC, with the World Series beginning next Thursday. Big bats due up. Case, Hunt, Spencer. For Alabama down by one to the bottom of the 6th inning. There's Kayla Hunt on deck.
And in these innings, 6th and 7th inning, it is so crucial for Nebraska to play tight defense. Had 4 errors on the board. When I look at the scoreboard, that's a number that just sticks out to me like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
And it's important equally for Alabama to put pressure on their defense.
Chopper to third, Knighton to first. Not in time. Tying run aboard.
Just textbook slapping by Callie Case to lead off this inning for Alabama. In the air long enough, Knighton is just waiting for the ball to get to her. You can't hurry up a ball that's in the air like that. And good hustle by Callie Case to get down to first. Safe by about a half a step.
And that'll bring up Hunt, and we showed it to you. Third all-time in Alabama history in homers. In a sack situation, trying to move the tying run into scoring position. This goes back to the kind of culture that these two coaches have bred. You're in the 3 spot, you got a bunch of home runs. I don't care. I got the tying run at first. I need you to move her over.
It's a selfless mentality. It's all about the team. What can I do to help the team? Whether you're the starting third baseman or a role player that's not one of the starting 9.
Lays it down. The throw to second base by Tatum Edwards, and they get the lead runner in Case.
Talk about defense stepping up, and Nebraska defense stepping up to get the lead runner at second to keep her out of scoring position. And even better, you just wasted that bunt by Kayla Hunt, who's one of your top home run hitters ever. And he got that force out. Huge.
That brings up Spencer. Still the go-ahead run. And still a big bat at the plate.
And Patrick Murphy said this quote that just stuck out to me. He said, those 9 who don't play are the reason that we win. It's easy to be the everyday starting, in the everyday starting lineup, hitting in the 3-hole, playing third base. But Alabama is a team that puts so much emphasis on those players who are not out on defense, who are not in the starting lineup, and that is the reason that they win. Everybody buys in. Everybody could be a starting player at a different college. They chose to go there, but they came here for the atmosphere, the culture, to be a part of this team.
Off the plate, Edwards only play to first. That does move the tying run Hunt into scoring position, but now 2 away with Fickner coming to the plate. Stressful inning after stressful inning, and now 132 pitches for Tatum Edwards. And Emily Lockman, the sophomore, as she has been just about all night, loosening up behind her in the Nebraska pen.
And a great number 2 option. Both of these
Certainly,
teams have such good pitching staffs. They're comfortable with their aces, Tatum Edwards and Jacqueline Trina, but are not scared to go to the bullpen and rely on those behind them.
Towards the hole, it's short, in the left field, base hit. The tying run Hunt will hold up at third as Woolman got to it quickly. And now Lafayette will have a chance to come to the plate and maybe tie this game. And Rhonda Ravel, who calls the pitches for this Nebraska team, out on the first baseline, and now is going to come in.
Another good opportunity to take a timeout, talk to your defense, especially talk to Tatum Edwards about exactly how you want to face Lafayette up at the plate. Rhonda Ravel calls the pitches. Lori Sipple is the pitching coach, works with them at practice, but the brains of the pitch calling comes from Rhonda Ravel.
Talking to the defense as well, which has committed 4 errors, tying a season high. How they're going to play this defensively with Lafayette, who's got decent power coming to the plate. What's your thought here? Again, good power, not off the charts power, but still a dangerous hitter, and more importantly, the tying run at third.
Yeah, absolutely. Each one of these Alabama hitters are so fearless when they're up at the plate, and they can, each one of them, change a game. Who's going up there with that clutch mentality with runners in scoring position and just want to be the one to get the hit, want to relish the opportunity. I think it's going to be important for Tatum Edwards to change speeds. Because in this situation, you want to be the one that comes up to get the big hit. There's nothing better than changing speeds and changing timing.
Going to be a pinch runner for Fichtner. Right now, that's the go-ahead run, and it's Andrea Hawkins coming in to pinch run for Fichtner.
And the postseason is all about timely hitting, as if it's not about that in the regular season, but really in the postseason. Who's going to be the one that comes up and gets the big hit when it's needed most?
Rafaele, without a hit today, has been hit by a pitch in 3 trips. Ball 1 down low. Hawkins, by the way, at first base, 23 of 25 in her career stealing bases. Don't know if you necessarily risk it here. Could be a gamble. The 1-0. Well, with the change at 51 and missed down low. 2 balls and no strikes.
And also Marissa Runyon is on deck, who I feel like has just seen Tatum Edwards very, very well. So if you're looking on deck to maybe pitch around her to load the bases, Runyon's not really the one that you want to face.
Yeah. On the ground, Knighton has time, and the inning is over. Another jam that Tatum Edwards escapes from. 10 left on base by the Crimson Tide, and they trail by 1 to the 7th. The 7th, Nebraska 5, Alabama 4, and tonight's Capital One Cup impact performance comes out of the bottom of the order. Number 8 spot in Nebraska's lineup, Austin Ernest, a 2-run home run in the 2nd, which made it 4-0 at the time, and then an RBI infield single in the 4th, which was Nebraska's 5th run. And for the time being, that's the winning run for the Huskers. That's our Capital One Cup impact performance from Austin Ernest. And it's a 1-run game to the 7th. Haley Decker leads it off against Sydney Littlejohn. 2 for 3 tonight. In the air to center, McClain started back. The shortstop, Hayes going out, and she made the catch. A leaping grab. Kind of just died off the end of the bat. And goes deep as it looked like it was going to, but Hayes makes a good play in a tough spot.
She goes kind of Matrix style, had to time that just right.
Nice 1999 reference, Amanda.
I'm usually good for them.
At least won a game. 2 solid defensive shortstops, Hayes and Armstrong, in this game. Here's Tatum Edwards. First pitch swinging down the line towards Spencer. 2 down.
That's exactly what this Alabama team needs. A couple of quick outs, especially defensively. Get out on the field, get 3 quick outs, and then head back to hit. Bottom of the 7th inning.
It'll be the bottom of the Alabama order due up in the bottom of the 7th, and we showed it to you earlier. Nebraska 30-0 this season when leading after 5 innings. They were leading after 5 tonight. Here's Taylor Edwards, 0 for 3. Just 4 for 21 in the NCAA tournament so far. I think that actually 5 for 19 for Taylor Edwards.
What a nice job that Sydney Littlejohn really has done to come in relief of the All-American, your freshman, step into the big stage, and she's just been a leader for her team.
In her 3rd inning of relief. In the air to center field, McClain caps off a 4-pitch top of the 7th. And the Tide and the fans in Tuscaloosa to their feet. Last chance for Alabama. 7-8-9 coming up. Runyon's got an RBI tonight. A 1-run game to the bottom of the 7th. Alabama with 7-8-9 due up in their order against a new pitcher. It'll be Emily Lockman, the sophomore who was outstanding in the NCAA tournament as a freshman, gunning for her 2nd career save. The only other one she had was on April the 2nd against Creighton. Big spot.
A huge spot, but Coach Rhonda Revelle says that Emily Lockman is a pitcher who wants the ball. She's going to throw about 63 to 65 miles an hour, more east and west. A much different look than Tatum Edwards, who started this game, but she's competitive. And in the bottom of the 7th inning, when you have a 1-run lead, you want somebody out there who wants the ball and wants to be in that circle.
She'll face Runyon, Hayes, and Grantham. And Tatum Edwards stays in the game. She'll play left field. Does that often when she gets pulled in games. Obviously, she's a hitter as well. Keep her in the lineup. Woolman's the flex player, so Tatum Edwards is allowed to take her spot. There's a strike, 1-1.
You might be thinking, why take out the ace, the senior, but 7-8-9 is up for Alabama. She threw 138 pitches, no earned runs that she gave up, but 8 hits, and 4 of them have been from the 7, 8, and 9 hitters in this lineup.
We saw no earned runs, all 4 runs for Alabama in this game, unearned. 4 errors by Nebraska, but they're 3 outs away from doing what they did last year and taking a 1-0 lead on the road in the Supers against one of the top teams in the nation. 2-1. 3 balls and a strike. Close pitch. Runyon took it.
Very important to go after her so that you do not risk turning over the order for Alabama.
Anybody gets on, Mcclain is looming in the hole in this inning. Strike 2.
It's a nice pitch on the outside corner, 65 miles an hour. Get you back into this count.
In the air, center field, way back. We're tied.
The freshman steps up on a full count and takes it deep. She's been so good all night and is no different with her approach in the bottom of the 7th inning when her team needs her to find a way to get on. And not only does she get on, she just heads around the bases and heads home to tie this game up.
And now a run wins it for Alabama. Here's Hayes. And now Mcclain will bat here in the bottom of the 7th inning. There she is talking to the freshman who just banged a game-tying home run here in the bottom of the 7th. Time was called, no pitch. Well, Nebraska, you got to think about their last 3 non-regional postseason games. The 2 one-run losses in the World Series last year, and now giving up a 1-run lead in the 7th. On the ground to second, loved by Decker, 1 away. And just tough sledding for Nebraska.
And especially tough for a new pitcher to come in and the way that you're greeted is a solo home run hit off of you in the bottom of the 7th inning. But a good job by Lockman to follow up that home run with getting an out.
It will be Grantham, the freshman. Traina taken off the hook. Grantham 0 for 2. Ball and a strike, and as we said, Hailey Mcclain is looming on deck. The SEC batting champion. So Grantham just trying to get aboard and get this potent top of the lineup up for the Tide. He's fouled at the plate, 1-2. A home run from Marissa Runyon to tie this game, the first extra base hit of the 9 that Alabama has tonight. And as we said, Mcclain, who does not have a hit tonight, will have a chance to extend her hit streak and maybe give Alabama a win. 1-2. In the air to right. Backing is Muir. 2 down.
Solid swing by Grantham. Best swing of the night for her. And this ball off the bat looks like it's going to fly over the fence, and then it just dies.
You got a lot of balls like that tonight, huh?
That's why you just kind of chuckle, because it's a beautiful swing. The wind's blowing out even just a little bit. It's out of here. That wind is just still.
Lori Sipple out to talk with Emily Lockman. Just a question to throw out there. Do you, I mean, again, it's an interesting argument. You don't necessarily want to put the winning run on base. Probably never want to put the winning run on base. Is there any thought of trying to pitch around somebody as good as Mcclain to go after somebody like Case, who's still so solid? I would think no.
I have to think no, too. And I think the real message is to keep the ball a little bit lower.
Okay.
Because Mcclain does have home run power. She's hit more home runs this year than she did last year.
Yep.
I think due in large part to her being in the leadoff spot and out of the 2-hole back behind Kayla Bro. So now's a chance right now where she gets to show off that home run power if she gets a pitch that she can hit.
And she takes ball 1 outside. There's a strike, 1-1. Kayla Bro, arguably the best leadoff hitter that Alabama had in about a decade. And Mcclain is making quite the argument to step right into that same argument as well. Arguably one of the best in the country this year, certainly. Line shot knocked down by Knighton. The throw to first is in time, and we're going to extra innings. Solid job by the freshman to stay with that ball and get Mcclain. But we are tied at 5, and it was the freshman Marissa Runyon greeting Emily Lockman with a dead center solo shot. Let's go to the 8th in game 1. Wild ball game. Nebraska banged around Jackie Traina for the first couple of innings. Jacqueline gave up 4 runs in an inning and a half. Alabama got 2 in the bottom of the second. Back and forth we went. 3 RBIs tonight for Austin Ernest, including the one in the 4th inning that it seemed like was the winning run until Marissa Runyon came up in the bottom of the 7th against Emily Lockman and jacked a game-tying home run, her 5th of her freshman campaign. And we go to extra innings here in Tuscaloosa for game 1. Sydney Littlejohn, who has pitched 3 hitless innings of relief so far, 3 hitless and scoreless innings of relief, faces Knighton, Muir, and Stokes in the 8th. Corners play in against Knighton, and it's ball 1 high and away. And Littlejohn doing outstanding work in relief for Jacqueline Traina, who went 4+, allowed 8 hits, and was charged with all 5 runs. Through 100 pitches since Littlejohn has come in, Nebraska has not had a hit. The only couple of base runners, Tatum Edwards, the first batter that Littlejohn faced, a walk. Later in that inning, Kylie Muir, a walk. And since then, 7 straight retired by Littlejohn.
And a lot of pop-ups that Nebraska has hit as well.
Every out she's had so far. Now all 9 outs have been pop-ups. Well, I should say 8 of 9, 1 strikeout.
And so you look for Nebraska to make that adjustment, to hit the ball on the ground, hit a line drive. Try to see the top of the ball to be able to make an adjustment. Who's going to be the first one that steps up and actually does it?
Line drive center field. Mcclain read it well off the bat. 8 in a row retired by Sydney Littlejohn. 1 away here in the 8th. And we kind of touched on it the last inning, but think about what Nebraska has gone through the last 2 postseasons. 11-inning game. They give up a lead in game 2 of the Supers to Oregon last year. They go punch for punch with Washington. Washington comes back to win in 8 innings in the Oklahoma City Women's College World Series. And then the 15-inning epic against Florida. Here's Muir taking one down and away. And all of those games, 1-run losses. And on the other end of things, Alabama coming up with the big hits when they needed them.
So at least they have the experience in the postseason to play that extra inning game.
Sure.
They're used to it.
That's a good spin on it. You see what happened last year. 4-3 loss, the Souza home run that won it. Then the 9-8 loss against Florida. Edwards started the game, re-entered the game, and as it went 15 innings deep into the night in OKC. Check swing foul, 2-1.
But on the other side of things, Coach Murphy told us yesterday that something about last year was that they had a lot of one-run losses themselves.
Alabama a season ago went 6-7 in one-run games, including 3 losses over the course of the season in 5 games to Tennessee. One of them was in the Super Regionals. This year, Alabama, and all their hitters talked to us about it too, getting the big hit when they need it most, and Runyon gave it to him in that bottom of the 7th, the solo home run to tie. That one inside, and it just clipped Muir. And the go-ahead run is on base here in the 8th.
Due in large part to last year having a target on their back. A lot of new people in the lineup after they won the 2012 national championship, and then that next year just a different looking lineup that they had offensively. A lot of youth, a lot of inexperience, and this year they're taking that experience and coming into the 2014 season and really having them benefit.
Alabama, and Patrick Murphy said it was the perfect storm last year. Here's Stokes. Now with 1 out, we'll see if she tries to maybe just move the runner, or maybe swings away to try to get Muir into scoring position and hope that she gets one through. And Austin Ernest, who has had a big night tonight, is on deck for the Huskers. Stokes fouls it, 1-1.
With these well-hit balls that we've had tonight, surprised that none of them more of them have flown out, but I mean, the wind is just not helping at all. It's not blowing in, but it's definitely not blowing anywhere.
There's no wind here. A thick air here in Tuscaloosa for the most part. As Craig Hyde checks the softball real quick, make sure it's not scuffed up or anything after it banged off the helmet of Fichtner. Fichtner kind of got her bell rung a little bit, and she's all right. Muir at first base after being hit by a pitch.
And you think, what a game. We knew this game was going to be even. I mean, but it just shows it, the fact that it's gone into extra innings. One team has 8 hits, the other team has 9. The real difference maker in this game is the 4 errors that Nebraska has had. And Tatum Edwards gave up 4 runs, but none of them were earned runs.
Stokes, a bouncer back up the middle, past a diving Hunt. And Muir, the go-ahead run is into scoring position with Ernest coming to the plate. 2nd inning, this got Nebraska into a confident mindset. A 2-run shot off Traina that made it 4-0 at the time. And again, she added the RBI in the 4th that at the time made it 5-2. 3 unanswered, 2 in the 4th, and then the home run in the 7th for Alabama to tie it and send it to extras. Well, here is Ernest out of Lake Elsinore, California. Born in New Jersey, though, went to high school in Cali, and now playing her college ball in Lincoln. Covering 3 of the 4 time zones over her lifetime. In the air, high to left center. Mcclain and Case converging. It'll be Mcclain for the 2nd out.
Just another hit that off the bat, it looks like it has potential to get out of here. Hit on a nice part of the bat, but just doesn't travel.
Tyson takes a strike. And mentioned Maddie Fowler was the first baseman to start the season. Tyson, when Fowler went down with her knee injury against her sister's team, Arizona, Tyson stepped in very nicely at first. 0-2. Popped up towards first. The Tide are coming up with a chance to win it. And Kayla Hunt, third all-time in Bama history in homers, is due up second. Wild game one in Tuscaloosa, Nebraska, showing no nerves on the road. Tatum Edwards helping her own cause in the first inning with an RBI double. 2 runs scored in that first, 2 more in the second for the Huskers. This one, a 2-run shot off the bat of Austin Ernest. That made it 4-0 against Jacqueline Trena. Alabama answered back, able to work themselves back into this game with a couple of runs in the second inning. They were down 5-4 in the bottom of the 7th. Emily Lockman comes in, and Marissa Runyon goes yard to tie us up at 5. And now we go to the bottom of the 8th. 5 runs, 9 hits on each side. The main difference is the 4 Nebraska errors, as Amanda mentioned, tying a season high. And Alabama, with its big bats coming up, has a chance to take a comeback win at Rhodes Stadium to open up this Tuscaloosa Super Regional, presented to you by Capital One. Case, Hunt, Spencer. Couple of hits for Case tonight. Second inning of work for Lockman. How does she bounce back mentally after giving up the game-tying homer?
Because she got hit hard in the bottom of the 7th. Even the outs that she gave up were line drives, deep fly balls. See how she makes adjustments.
In at third is Knighton. Slap attempt, it's 0-2.
And when you're looking at the highlights of this game, you just see a bunch of freshmen. Marissa Runyon, Austin Ernest, and Sydney Littlejohn for Alabama in the circle. It's huge for freshmen to step up in the postseason when the lights are on and the pressure's on too.
Nebraska is the youngest team in the field of 64 in the NCAA tournament. They have just 4 underclassmen. Meanwhile, last year, and Amanda was touching on it the last half inning, what Alabama had to deal with, the perfect storm with Trena's arm issues, plus the youth and inexperience of last year's team, and an early exit in the tournament. 0-2. 1 away. First strikeout for Emily Lockman tonight.
This is a great pitch with 2 strikes. Look at the location. It's down. It's about 2 balls off. It's a screwball that gets Case to chase. And you mentioned last year, Adam, and I think the biggest thing is the fact that they now had a national championship under their belt. There's not one team in the country that didn't want to play them and didn't want to beat them when they played them.
Here is Hunt looking for her first hit tonight. Third all-time in Alabama history in homers, and 1 hit could win this game off the bat of Hunt. A flyout, a walk, reached on one of those 4 Nebraska errors, and reached on a fielder's choice.
And Coach Rebell said about Emily Lockman in the circle that she has a curveball and a screwball, but she can throw it at 3 different levels. So a little bit lower, then a little bit mid-height, and then higher. So even though she doesn't have quite the north and south movement that Tatum Edwards has, she has the ability to do that.
Foul, 1-2. There's a big panel when you walk through the concourse at Rhodes Stadium that has Charlotte Morgan's picture on it. There's a big one in this complex that has a picture of Kelly Kretschmann on it, obviously a 4-time All-American. Kayla Hunt's name is right up there with those 2 in terms of Alabama's all-time home run leaders.
You're talking about some of the best to ever wear that Alabama uniform. look at where Kayla Hunt gets in the box. Her toes are just right on the chalk. Trying to crowd the plate a little bit, really trying to challenge Emily Lockman to throw her inside and try to sneak one past her on the outside part of the plate, but toed up.
Into right for Muir. 2 away. And that'll bring up Spencer, who was the star of the regional in breakout fashion. Adam Amin, two-time All-American Amanda Scarborough, our great crew at the Rhodes House, Rhodes Stadium in Tuscaloosa. Game 1 of this softball super regional presented by Capital One. 8th inning, 2 down, bases clear for Spencer. And strike 1 from Lockman.
I just love how much the fans get into the game here.
Crowd thinking, hey, that was the same spot, right? How come it was a strike the first time? It was a little further off.
Nice shades.
Two and 1. Lockman staying right around the same area against Spencer here.
And trying to work the outside part of the plate.
Three and 1. Lockman, just a sophomore, already twice all Big Ten selection out of Corona, California. And ball 4 to Spencer, and the winning run is on base for the Crimson Tide.
It's a nice at bat by Jaden Spencer, and seeing the ball all the way in and just really believing in the strike zone, that not trying to press, not trying to do too much, just seeing the ball well.
It'll be Fickner with 2 outs and the winning run on base. A couple of hits and a walk, a run scored tonight for Fickner. Good pitch, strike 1. Lockman appearing for the 3rd time in the NCAA tournament. Started a couple of games in the regional, including a pair of elimination games and the clincher against Missouri in Game 7 in Columbia. Used to the big spot already. Threw a no-hitter 4 starts into her Nebraska career against Utah State, faster than anybody in Husker history, and went on later last season to beat #1 Oklahoma and snap their 17-game win streak. Not the first time that Nebraska is facing one of the big boys.
And the one thing that you notice about Lockman, she's having a hard time establishing the inside part of the plate to the right-handed hitters. And throwing a curveball for a strike about 1 every 3, 1 every 4 pitches.
How much does that have to do with maybe crowding the plate a little bit?
Yeah. And as a pitcher, you notice that. You're a little bit more timid to try to hit the inside part of the plate.
I would think that's frustrating for a pitcher when you're trying to get the inside corner. They're just crowding and crowding.
It makes it difficult, and even makes it more difficult to hit the outside part of the plate too, because now you're thinking, wait, are they going to see that ball better on the outside part of the plate because they are more on the plate? Is that pitch going to look as if it's right down the middle to them? But still so important to throw to the hitter.
3-1. Ball 4, back-to-back 2-out walks, and the winning run is in scoring position for Alabama. Here's Lafaele.
And walks is what got Tatum Edwards in trouble in the second inning when Alabama scored their first 2 runs.
And it has put Nebraska into a very difficult position here. Still an out away from sending it to the 9th. Lafayette a hit away from sending everybody home. And Patrick Murphy comes out, as does Lori Sipple. I wonder if a change is going to be made here for Alabama. He's got his lineup card out, talking with Terry Holt. And looks like it's going to be a pinch runner. That'll come in for Jaden Spencer. It'll be Chandler Dare checking in as the potential winning run for the Crimson Tide here in the 8th. You know how you were talking earlier about just everybody on the bench, everybody in the dugout trying to get things going? We've seen just about everybody outside of Chauncey Bell, Daniel Richard, and Leslie Jury, the 3rd pitcher, or one of the 3 pitchers tonight for Alabama.
And being able to use your roster in the right situations and know when to put those runners in, and that's due in large part to Coach Murphy believing in those players that they're going to be ready to come up off the bench and know the situation and know what's at stake and be smart out there.
1-0 on Lafayette. Dares the winning run at second here in the bottom of the 8th with 2 out. In the air, short left, Armstrong back, and the inning is over, and off to the 9th we go here in Tuscaloosa. And Haley Decker, a breakout star in Columbia last week, is coming up second. 5 to the 9th, game 1 of this NCAA Softball Super Regional in Tuscaloosa, presented to you by Capital One. And it'll be the top of the order for Nebraska coming up against Sydney Littlejohn, who, and how many times do we talk about this with a reliever coming in, has absolutely changed the complexion of this game. Jacqueline Trina got banged up tonight, 8 hits, 5 runs. Littlejohn has allowed a few base runners, but just 1 hit. And Nebraska hasn't been able to get much going against the freshman.
Yeah, a lot of pop-ups that she's induced, which are real easy for the Alabama defense just to be able to go ahead and field. And they just haven't really seen the ball very well off of her. Just a great coaching move to bring Sydney Littlejohn in when the score was 5-4 and pull your All-American and put a freshman out there.
Chandler Dare staying out there. She'll play in right field. Came in and pinch ran for Jaden Spencer. We'll get a little more speed in right with Dare out there. And top of the order, Armstrong, who's 0 for 4 tonight, followed by Decker and then Tatum Edwards. First pitch swinging and a foul. The corners are playing in here with Grantham and Lafayette. Twisted foul, 0-2.
You can see her just really gingerly walking back to the plate, limping a little bit, just so tough, just sacrificing her body for this team. And you go back to that play that she made to save a run at shortstop, and it's kind of what I feel like triggered it.
Yeah.
But made it a little bit more sensitive.
Yeah, just aggravated it a little bit. And she has really battled. 0-2. Reaching out and poking one on the infield, and Lafayette is there to make the catch. Sydney Littlejohn has recorded 13 outs since coming into the game with 1 on and nobody out in the 5th. Look at that, and you've talked about it multiple times. She is completely different from Trina. A spin pitcher, a little slower, and Nebraska cannot square her up. 12 pop-outs and 1 strikeout.
Well, it's pretty shocking. It's just, it takes one person to come up and hit the ball on the ground. See the top of the ball, keep your hands on top of it. And it tells me too that her curveball just has a little bit of spin up once it gets to the catcher,
little bite
when it crosses the plate too. But who's going to be the one to make an adjustment? He's doing the same thing over and over and over again. No line drives and no hard ground balls.
Decker takes a strike. And we talked about it. Littlejohn seemingly more and more confident every time she takes the circle. And she got beat around a little bit the last time she made a start. She had that great start against Missouri earlier in the season and then made one other start against an SEC team. That was Georgia. And that start against Georgia was in the SEC tournament when Bama got eliminated in the semis, en route to Georgia moving to the finals and taking on Kentucky. So for Littlejohn to bounce back, and again, only pitched a third of an inning last week. So this is her first real NCAA tournament time in her career, and she's been outstanding. 2-1, 3-1. Decker patient at the plate. Already a couple of hits tonight for Hailey, extending her hit streak to 14 games, continuing a red-hot NCAA tournament, still hitting .500. Ahead 3-1. And the go-ahead run on base for the Huskers here in the ninth.
It's a nice at-bat by Decker to find a way on. Be real easy for her with the weekend that she had and the way that she's seeing the ball to get out of her zone and want to be the one to come up and hit the big home run. But ever since her first at-bat, she's been short to the ball and has had quality at-bats.
And here's Tatum Edwards, who was in line for the win until the bottom of the seventh when Runyon hit the solo home run to tie it at 5. First pitch down and in, 1 ball, no strikes. And what did Hailey Decker talk to us about yesterday? Just about as well as she has seen the ball in her career in college. Seeing the spin, seeing the movement. Amanda talked to you about the hand-eye exercises that Nebraska does and how Decker has benefited specifically. There's a strike, 1-1 on Tatum Edwards.
Well, last year, Hailey Decker was really worried about numbers and batting average and pressure. It's her freshman year. And this year, she's been a completely different hitter and has been huge for this Nebraska offense.
She's the go-ahead run at first. 1-1. 2 balls and a strike. .70 pitches in relief for Littlejohn. Still just the 1 hit to Kiki Stokes in the 8th. High chop foul. 2-2.
But look at that adjustment. Hit the ball on the ground. Tatum Edwards, I think that's one of the first ground balls that we've seen, even regardless it's foul, going up and making an adjustment.
One out, 9th inning, 2-2 on Tatum Edwards. Out of play.
The crowd's hung in here pretty well, don't you think?
Decent. It's not football season yet. Still about 98 days. They're not going anywhere. Not too far away from Alabama's palatial football complex. Two and 2 on Tatum Edwards. Ball 3. This will be the 7th pitch of this at bat coming up to Tatum. On the ground towards the hole, and a ground ball gets through. A base hit, just the 2nd for the Huskers against Littlejohn, and the go-ahead run in Decker is into scoring position.
Well, honestly, Tatum Edwards has had one of the best at-bats as an up-and-out pitch, but she has the mentality to see the top of the ball. When you go up there with an approach, if you're looking for a certain angle to hit the ball or certain side of the ball to hit, you go up there with an approach and you believe in it and trust in it, good things are going to happen. Tatum Edwards, the first Nebraska hitter to make an adjustment against Sydney Littlejohn.
And here is her twin sister Taylor, the all-time home run leader in Nebraska history. 0 for 4 tonight with 3 pop-outs. Line drive into center field, down for a base hit. Tatum's going to hold up at third with only 1 out, and a nice job by Mcclain to get it in quickly. Back-to-back base hits off of Littlejohn, and the bases are loaded in the top of the 9th. And that'll bring up Knighton, who already has an RBI tonight. Littlejohn, I think, wants a new softball. Trano only went 4+, but threw 100 pitches tonight. She's been in the dugout cheering on Littlejohn, and she's mentored all season long. Knighton, who's been very, very good the last about 6 weeks, digs in with a chance to give Nebraska the lead in a wild game 1 here in the 9th inning. Ball 1.
Well, remember, freshmen have been the ones who have stepped up in this game, and Knighton, a freshman, comes up, bases loaded, extra innings, and she has a chance to put her team on top.
Little flare towards second, caught by Hunt, 2 away. And Littlejohn has a chance to get out of this inning with Muir coming up. Another pop out for an out. Now the 5th-year junior to the plate. Time called here.
It's like Figner has something in her eye.
Yep. Well, again, the go-ahead run is Decker, who walked with 1 out in this inning. Tatum Edwards singled. Then Taylor Edwards singled as well before Knighton popped out. And out to the circle comes Patrick Murphy to chat with Littlejohn in the defense and how they're going to approach Muir's at bat.
It's a good call for a timeout. You're seeing these coaches step out of the dugout and in important clutch moments just go out and talk to the infield, talk to their pitchers, make sure that everybody's on the same page, because game 1 of a super regional is so important. It's 2 of 3 series, and every out, every pitch is just so important trying to secure that win.
Patrick Murphy's team has been in all 10, the only team in NCAA history since the format began in 05 to reach every super regional. 8 trips to the Women's College World Series in 16 years under Murphy. Went 0-2 last year. They came back to tie it in the bottom of the 7th with a Runyon homer. Nebraska, bases loaded, 2 outs for Muir. Ball 1.
That's a good eye, too.
Muir has already hit a couple of grand slams this season. 2 of her 4 home runs have been grand slams. There's a strike, and it's 1-1.
The defense definitely playing her a certain way, being left-handed. Hailey Mcclain.
A little overshift in the outfield.
Yeah, shading towards the right side, and Case out there in left field. Very far off the line.
And Dare in right, guarding the line. 1-1. 2 balls and a strike on Muir. What a wild day 1 of the Super Regionals. Michigan, the other unseeded team along with Nebraska, blowing out Florida State 17-3 to take a lead on the road. Most runs Florida State's ever allowed. Extra innings here in game 1 in Tuscaloosa. Go ahead run at third, the 2-1. Strike 2.
Strike on a pitch that just nicks the corner. The next pitch is a little bit further off, and you take it. Bases loaded, you don't chase.
Hasn't lifted the bat off the shoulder yet. Bases loaded, 2 out. The 3-2. Chopper to short. Hayes steps on second. We go to the bottom of the 9th. Tied at 5. Littlejohn leaves him loaded. Runyon had the magic in the 7th to tie it. Does she have a little more in that bat? She leads it off in the bottom of the 9th. Batter that Emily Lockman faced in relief of Tatum Edwards, looking for the save, and Runyon tied this game.
On a full count, she was just in it to win it. So calm, so collected. Wasn't trying to hit a home run, but it just came. Stepping up for her team to take this game into extras.
So Runyon, the freshman, in a night where freshmen have been integral pieces to a wild game 1, is leading things off here in the bottom of the 9th. Runyon out of Myrtle Beach, a 5 home run season as a freshman, stepping into a major role.
She's proved that she can hit the down pitch, whether it's off of Tatum Edwards or Emily Lockman. It's going to be important tomorrow or even in this at bat to be able to keep her honest by throwing it up in the zone. She's too comfortable with down in the zone right now. She's locked in.
Lockman back to work. Ball 1 upstairs.
As they throw it up. 'That's a great thing about the postseason, is that there's always somebody that steps up who maybe didn't have the best weekend the weekend before. That was Jaden Spencer for Alabama. Tonight, it's Runyon's night. Tomorrow night, it could be completely different. Who's going to be the one that steps up?
2 balls and a strike on Runyon.
Notice they're throwing all outside, had an up pitch to start the at bat, but Runyon has pretty much owned the inside corner.
Two. Got her on the outside corner for strike 3. 1 away here in the 9th.
Yeah, it's a big out. Not going to go back inside, going to challenge her with the outside part of the plate. And Edwards does a nice job to stick that pitch, get the strikeout, and help out the pitcher in the circle, Lockman.
Both teams have left double-digit runners on base tonight, by the way, as well. Here's Hayes. Soft flare in the right field, and the winning run is aboard for Alabama here in the 9th inning. Second hit of the night for Danae Hayes.
Clearly, she goes up looking for a pitch, looking for that outside pitch, and it's about bell tie. For a hitter who's going to go up and split the plate in half and go up looking for a pitch, you give it to him bell tie. It's going to be really easy for them to take that just to the opposite field.
So Grantham digs in. 1 for 9 in the NCAA tournament so far. In the 9 spot. Ball one inside. She's already been pinch hit for once tonight. Patrick Murphy has just about emptied the bench in this game. Flip the corner, 1-1. Hayes the winning run at first. 1 out, 9th inning. 1-2. In the air, left center field, way back. Stokes at the wall and makes the catch at the warning track. 2 away.
It's the second at bat in a row that Grantham has come up and just hit a shot. And her previous at bat in the 7th inning, it was a rope to right field, and this one almost gets out of here. I cannot believe that this ball is not traveling any further tonight. A shot, belt high again, and she just gets all of it. And then it just dies about halfway through. To the warning track, does a great job of playing it. Stokes does.
Back to the top. Here's McClain. Strike 1. And another chance for McClain to extend a career-high 16-game hit streak. 0 for 4 with a walk tonight. Boy, well-hit ball after well-hit ball. A bunch of them refusing to get out. 0-1 to McClain. 0-2.
She's the type of player who, if she hasn't gotten a hit quite yet, she's just going to be due. That's for any good hitter.
Scary.
Yeah, yeah. And so important to get up on her 0-2. Getting a pitcher's count against one of the best hitters in the country.
It's like, oh, nice job. You got her 0 for 4. Now you got to face her one more time, and she is always due for a hit. Incredible. 3 out of every 5 times she comes to the plate, she's getting first base. 3rd in the country in on-base percentage. 1-2 to McClain. Waited back on that. That's a defensive swing right there, and I think maybe Lockman had her mixed up.
I think so too, and honestly, I think if Lockman puts this pitch at her ankle, she's got her.
Yeah, I think so.
But it's up. It's going to be a lot easier to foul off. Double clutches just to get a piece of that.
Yeah, cover the plate well. One, 2. 2-2. Sierra Romero led the country in on-base percentage this year of Michigan. Megan Baltzel has actually been a very good power hitter in her career over at Longwood. She was 2nd. And then it was this sophomore, McClain, the SEC batting champion. 2 outs in the 9th, the 2-2. High chop to second. Decker is there. The flip to Armstrong, and the inning is over. And we play on in game 1. Off to the 10th inning. And on a night where freshmen have made a huge impact, Austin Ernest, who's driven in 3 for Nebraska, will bat 2nd in the 10th. To the 10th we go here in game 1 on day 1 of the NCAA Super Regionals presented by Capital One. Michigan knocking off Florida State in game 1 in Tallahassee earlier today. This is our section of the bracket here in Tuscaloosa, matched up with Norman, Oklahoma, and Tennessee in a rematch of last year's Women's College World Series. A couple of really epic games last season too. Oklahoma and Tennessee. We could see, if Oklahoma and Alabama advance, a matchup of the last 2 national champions, Alabama in 2012, Oklahoma in 2013.
That's a great point.
We could see all SEC. We could see an old Big 12, kind of Big 8 rivalry, Nebraska, Oklahoma. It's a fun section of the regional, or of the super regional, going right into next Thursday when we get going on ESPN in Oklahoma City. Here in Tuscaloosa, game 1, 10th inning, tied at 5. Adam Amin, two-time All-American Amanda Scarborough. And Kiki Stokes leading things off. Stokes driven all the way to the warning track in center field in that bottom of the 9th inning on the deep drive by Grantham, was there to make the catch for that second out. Lockman got the third, and here we are in inning number 10. Stokes takes a strike, and a count even at 1-1. Yeoman's work by our fantastic crew here in Tuscaloosa, and a packed house at the Rhodes House, as you expect just about night in and night out. Double-digit hits, double-digit runners left on base. A pair of pitchers on each side, and all it's gotten us is nowhere. That's not a bad thing if you're a softball fan, right about
Adam,
that.
it's more softball that we get to watch.
2 balls and a
love
strike.
it.
I was trying to get out of here early. I mean, you and I have been locked at the hip for about 3 months. 2-1. To right center, and Mcclain had it played perfectly and reaches up to make the catch. If Mcclain's not shaded, she doesn't make that catch. And if she's not as athletic as she is, she also does not make that catch.
I don't know about the first one, but for sure about the second one, because she's just that good. She can cover about anything. If the ball's put in the air to center field, it's good enough for just pretty much going to be an out every time.
So I disagree with you only because I give credit to Stokes on how hard that ball was hit and how much of a line drive it was.
It's beautiful.
That's the only reason.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful.
Here's Ernest. First pitch swinging, and a number to Hayes. Clutched, but got her out. 2 down. So Ernest, who hit a home run and had an RBI single her first 2 trips, is now 0 for her last 3.
Well, in the past 2 at-bats, 2 innings that Nebraska's been up, you can see that they've been making an adjustment. More ground balls, harder hit, just back in the gap. That one that Stokes hit was just a nice, pretty swing, level.
And here's Donna Tyson, who walked in her first at-bat. First plate appearance, 0 for 3 since. Strike 1 at the knees. 90 pitches in relief for Littlejohn, trying to close out her 6th inning of scoreless relief. Strike 2. Unseeded Huskers, one of 2 unseeded teams here in the Supers. Taking on the Tide, who tied it in the 7th. Trying to end the 10th. Very close, and it's 2-2.
Important thing to remember, no matter if you're the 7-hitter, 9-hitter in the order, lead off, 1 pitch has the ability to totally change a game. So take it 1 pitch at a time.
Little shot into short right. Coming on is Dare, and she made the catch! Dare, who came in to pinch run in the bottom of the 8th. Just her 2nd inning in the outfield, and the first time she gets tested, she comes up big.
I don't know if she slides here to avoid Kayla Hunt or to just to plain make the catch. Regardless, it's pretty.
Alabama has had chances. Nebraska has had chances. Double-digit hits, double-digit left on base on each side, and a 5-5 game to the bottom of the 10th. Chandler Dare making a huge play to end that top half of the 10th inning, and she's going to bat for the first time in this game. She's due up 3rd in the cleanup spot. She came in a pinch run for Jaden Spencer in the 8th. Then played the 9th and 10th out on the field. Made a huge play in that top of the 10th. due up third. Case Hunt before her. And the next run for the Crimson Tide wins game 1.
What a game.
No doubt.
Knew it was going to be good, but we didn't think that we were going to get extra innings here.
2 evenly matched teams. We talked about it a lot at the top. Here's Case.
I mean, really even. Conference Coaches of the Year. They won their conference. Batting average, pitching similar, just all across the board. The way that they build a culture and treat their teams all starts at the top. 2 just awesome head coaches.
0-1. He's down and away 1-1. Both have dual threat pitchers who can hit and pitch.
Yeah.
They both have very good second basemen, with Decker, who had a massive week last week. Kayla Hunt, who's on deck for Alabama.
Multiple All-Americans on their team.
Sure. Similarities go a long way down the list. 1-1. High chop, tough play for Lockman. The stretch by Tyson in time. You said something to me earlier. You can't rush those high choppers. You rush that play, you're probably going to mess it up. You got to stay calm on plays like that.
So important to stay calm. All you want to do is that ball just to get into your glove so you can try to make the already make the throw. She waits on it, quickly gets it to her throwing hand, and is able to make that out at first base.
Close play by a half step. Case retired. Here is Hunt. This is the 3rd time that it's 2, 3, and 4 due up in an order for Alabama. Actually, the 4th time counting this 10th inning. They just haven't been able to string anything together with this great trio of Case, Hunt, and Spencer. Again, Dare will bat next. 1-0 is down and in. And by the way, should make the point too, Spencer can re-enter the game. And sure, oh, you know what? Sure enough, Patrick Murphy sends her out into the on-deck circle. Try to get this going 2, 3, and 4. They did have the re-entry available for Spencer. So she's back in the 4 spot and in right. Dare's done, assuming that Spencer comes up. And it's 3-0 on Kayla Hunt.
Yeah, timidly pitching to Kayla Hunt, knowing that she has the power. Emily Lockman really hasn't even come close. For a strike. '60th pitch from Lockman coming up in our 4th inning of relief. 3-1. Winning run on base in Hunt here in the 10th, and Spencer is going to come up for Alabama. Fun situation, but I think you got to let her hit.
3rd all-time in homers in Alabama history. Or, excuse me, my apologies, I'm thinking about Hunt. Spencer coming off the huge regional. 12 home runs for Spencer this season. And led Alabama this year. It's been a tough season for Jaden Spencer. It was a tough start to the year. Had a good opening weekend, then dealt with the passing of her grandfather back in Iowa. On the ground to second, could be 2. Decker to Armstrong, in time at first, double play. And the team that led the country in double plays last year gets a huge one to close the 10th. Armstrong and Decker teaming up. They'll lead off the 11th inning for Nebraska. The Huskers go 4-6-3. The scoreboard here at Rhodes Stadium as we go to the 11th inning. 5-5 game. Marissa Runyon's home run to tie it in the bottom of the 7th. The solo shot made it 5-5. We played extras ever since. If you're looking for SportsCenter, you can check it out over on ESPN2. A wild day, a lot of news stories, what Mark Cuban said, Prince Fielder is done for the season for the Rangers. Landon Donovan to start the day was left off the United States national team on the soccer side. And of course the NHL playoffs continue. Coverage over on ESPN2 right now. And Rhonda Revelle is out there with the umpire, and Alicia Armstrong just can't go anymore. Dealing with a back issue all fall, all season long. Made a couple of run-saving plays.
And just turn the double play.
She just helped out on the double play, and you got to think that the torque of the last throw just may have been the final straw. And she, for the time being, she can't re-enter, but she is done right now, and she'll be pinch hit for. Sammy Noland is going to dig in for Alicia Armstrong against Sydney Littlejohn. So what a big spot all of a sudden for Sammy Noland to step into. The sophomore out of Tucson, the same high school as Maddie Fowler and her sister Kenzie. Canyon Del Oro in Arizona steps in here in the top of the 11th inning.
And what a fighter Alicia Armstrong is.
Absolutely.
Defensively and offensively, it just, I don't think that anybody really understands what she's going through unless you're her, but she just laid it all out on the field for her team.
Swing and a miss. Nolan goes down, one away. There have been a couple of moments tonight that Alicia Armstrong has been very impactful, especially defensively. We wonder, maybe was this it on this high chopper? She had to make this play, which did save a run, while Alabama had already brought a couple home, made this outstanding play to save a run.
Yeah, thinking about how much torque that is on your back to stop your momentum, dig in, use your feet to make a throw.
Here's Decker. Good pitch, strike one.
But that's the kind of player that she is.
Yeah.
An amazing grab.
First ball thrown in this inning by Sydney Littlejohn, who continues to do dynamic work in relief. This will be pitch number 100 of her night in relief. Jacqueline Traina gave up a leadoff fifth inning double to Haley Decker, the batter at the plate right now for the Huskers. Littlejohn came in and has shut the door since. 1-1. Off the end of the bat and popped up. Spencer coming in, makes the catch.
And Jacqueline Traina has been the biggest cheerleader for Sydney Littlejohn out in the circle ever since she came out of the game. Still staying in it. Still showing her support. Two
away for Tatum Edwards. An RBI double. That was all the way back in the first, which seems like a very, very long time ago. That was about 4 hours ago on the nose. Past midnight local time in Tuscaloosa. Off the end of the bat, and the pop-ups continue against Littlejohn. A 1-2-3, top of the 11th. Alabama coming up in the bottom of the frame with a chance to win game one. Bottom of the 11th inning, 5-5 game. Remember, we were just talking about Alicia Armstrong. She somehow is going to stay in this game, battling and battling. The sophomore from Beatrice, Nebraska, Big Ten all-second team, did not come to the plate to bat in the top of the 11th. Nolan came in and pinch hit for her. And Armstrong is coming back out there after a little bit of just massage treatment, seemingly, from the Nebraska staff. Look at her. I mean, this is her between innings.
Won't even take the hand.
Yeah, gingerly getting up, but on her own and trying to muscle her way out there. I mean, listen, you got to respect the heck out of it, but I ask you, at what point does it become a liability, do you think, to have her out there? Because, I mean, and again, Rhonda Revelle made the point to us yesterday. I'd rather have her at X% rather than somebody else maybe at 100. But when does it become a liability, do you think?
I think if she wants to be out there, she's going to make it happen defensively. I really do. And there's only been one play that comes to mind that it really affected her. being able to be mobile, but other than that, she's been solid at shortstop and great even.
So it'll be Fichtner to lead things off against Lockman here in the 11th inning. Strike one. Fichtner tonight, a couple of base hits, a walk, and a run scored in the second. She sprayed the ball too. One hit to left, one hit to right. Rhodes Stadium in Tuscaloosa, past the top of the hour. Adam Amin, two-time All-American Amanda Scarborough, Big Ten co-champ Nebraska, SEC regular season champ, and the #2 overall seed Alabama. Game one of this Super Regional. Best 2 out of 3, and the winner headed to Oklahoma City to open up against either Oklahoma or Tennessee. We'll have game 2 tomorrow night, 6 Eastern, 5 Central Time here from Rhodes Stadium over on ESPNU. Game 3, if necessary, right here on ESPN to follow. 2-1 on Fichtner. Line shot towards the gap. Tatum Edwards, for glove. Stokes backs it up and rolls away from her. And into second with a game-winning run goes Fichtner. First time that Tatum Edwards, since moving into left field from the pitcher's spot, has been tested.
It's a beautiful swing. First of all, low and in pitch, and she just gets her hands to it and drives it to left field. A lot of excitement in the dugout, but this is a play that Tatum Edwards needs to be able to make. It hit her glove, hit the inside of her glove, just couldn't come away with it. And it's been the defense for Nebraska that has been the game-changing moments for them.
That is a double. A hard hit ball by Fichtner, but again, to Amanda's point, defensive miscues, 4 errors by Nebraska tonight behind their pitchers. And now Alabama can win this game with a base hit. And with Lafayette going 0 for 4, Patrick Murphy, I think this is the last player, second to last player that he's got on his bench. And it's going to be Danielle Richard. Danielle is 286 on the season, and Richard out of Priceville, Alabama, the junior, is going to dig in with a chance to maybe win this game. Maybe she tries to move a runner over. Flashes that bunt, pulls back and takes a ball.
The person who's seen the ball the best is on deck, Marissa Runyon. Huge night for her.
The RBI in the second and the game-tying home run in the 7th. It's the only run of this game against the bullpens. 1-0. 2-0. And no strikes.
It's a nice at bat to get called upon in the 11th inning and be able to really focus, see the strike zone, and know that those 3 balls are balls. They're not strikes. Pull back and challenge Lockman in the circle.
Tried to hit that bunt on a 3-0 on a pitch that probably was out of the zone. 3 balls and a strike.
I know, I was just bragging on her.
Well, maybe really wants to move that runner over. That's the other thing, too.
She kind of punches at it, too.
3 balls and a strike. Fichtner the winning run at second. Nobody out. Bottom of the 11th. Puts it down. Knighton to third, and they've got Fichtner caught. Armstrong chases her and applies the tag for the first out of the inning. And Armstrong's limping around, but she had enough in the tank to go get Fichtner for out number 1 and get the lead runner. And even Decker's got to come over and check on her.
Well, MJ Knighton is a freshman, but this is not a freshman play. This is knowing your runner and good communication by Armstrong, knowing that Fichtner's not the fastest person on the team and that you have a shot to get her at third base. What a heads-up play by the freshman. And now you totally take a runner out of scoring position. Now you just have a runner at first base.
Don't know what may have happened after this at bat, but that could potentially be the 3rd defensive run saved by Alicia Armstrong, who is clearly not 100% in this game.
It's a great point.
Effort, yeah. And Fichtner is out, 1 away. Winning run still on base. That's Richard at first, with Runyon coming up. She's had the magic tonight. RBI in the 2nd, the solo homer in the 7th to tie the game.
And struck her out in the 9th inning. Just staying outside, because Runyon has proved that she can hit the inside pitch, especially low in the zone.
That's the 13th pitch in the last 3 plate appearances that Runyon has seen from Lockman. The only time she has swung in the last 3 plate appearances was the home run.
It's a great stat. You're awesome. It's impressive.
Oh, thanks. Takes a swing and misses right through on cue. 2-1. Lockman finally got her to chase one. He'd been very patient up until that point. And there's Armstrong at short. Still nursing that back. Fouled it back, 2-2. Nebraska 2 in the 1st, 2 in the 2nd off Trina. Alabama with 2 in the bottom of the 2nd off Tatum Edwards. Nebraska added 1 in the 4th. Alabama had 2 in the 4th. Runyon tied it in the 7th with the solo home run, the only run against Lockman. Popped up into left. Tatum Edwards coming in, 2 down.
Makes that out at third even more important, because if she comes up with a runner at third and does that, that's potentially a sacrifice fly. Game over.
Now it's Fichtner right there, who after the leadoff double got caught on a good defensive play too. She was doing her job going to third. She got caught in a great defensive play by Knighton. Here's Hayes, 2 hits tonight and a run scored. Strike 1.
And look for them to stay hard in on her. Seen a lot of at-bats now with these players, and Hayes a couple of times stuck her bat out with the outside pitch, drove it to the right side of the field for a couple of hits. First pitch to her inside.
Staying inside, 1-1. Gosh, Lockman, the first batter she faced as Runyon gave up the home run. Ever since then, just 2 hits for Alabama. The bullpens have been so good. 1-1. On the ground to second. Decker ends the inning. And off to the 12th we go in game 1, middle of the Nebraska order, coming up for Rhonda Ravel's team. Extra innings off to the 12th here in Tuscaloosa. Game 1 on ESPN, home of the Women's College World Series. How many more extra inning games in postseason play can Nebraska play? Last season in Oklahoma City, their first trip in 11 years. Game 1, bottom of the 8th, off of Lockman. Kim Souza, the walk-off home run for the Huskies in a 4-3 8-inning win. And then in the top of the 15th, Taylor Fuller getting past Alicia Armstrong, allowing a couple of those Gator runners to score. They won 9-8 in an epic 15-inning game that went deep into the night in OKC. A terrible end as well, with Gabby Banda going down with the knee injury on a collision at third. And Rhonda Ravel's team saw a 1-run lead in the bottom of the 7th slip away with a chance to win game 1 on the road, just as they did in Eugene last year in the Supers off the Runyon homer. Nebraska comes to bat against Littlejohn, who has blanked the Huskers in her relief stint. 7 scoreless of relief by Littlejohn. She'll deal with Taylor Edwards, Knighton, and then Muir here in the 12th. Ball 1.
Surprised some little kids are still here. Don't they have school tomorrow?
I don't know, but well, maybe elementary school and like the junior highs might still be going. And I'm pretty sure Alabama's out of school at this point.
Oh, I mean the little kids.
The little kids probably still got some school going, right, at this point of the year?
I don't call the 21, 22-year-olds little kids yet.
Not yet. Not just yet. Game 1 here tonight. Game 2 tomorrow on ESPNU at 6 Eastern. Game 3, if necessary, right here on ESPN Friday night. And a couple of travelers in the desert looking for the oasis right now. 1 and 2. Littlejohn has not done it with the strikeouts necessarily. She's only fanned 2. A lot of pop-outs. I think only 1 ground out in the stretch so far since coming into the 5th inning.
And this Nebraska team prepared hard for Jacqueline Trina.
Yep.
Only had a couple of days to do it, but they got back late on Sunday from regionals, and Coach Revelle said that she wanted to give them Monday off, but when you have a super regional that starts on Thursday, it's impossible.
Back to the circle. 1 away.
But
just the 2nd ground out right there, by the way.
Exactly. And Jacqueline Trina is the pitcher that they prepared for, not Sydney Littlejohn. Completely different style. And just really messed up their timing, but they were ready for the harder stuff with Trina. Knocked her out of the game.
Here's Knighton. Now the RBI single in the 1st. 0 for 4 since, but has hit the ball hard a few times. Strike 1. Try to show bunt very late, 0-2. .110th pitch for the freshman from Texas. And that stayed fair up the line right into Lafayette's glove. 2 down, so back-to-back groundouts. And going back to the point that you made with Nebraska prepping so hard for Trina, Nebraska's seen the best of the best this year. Look at this. In their season, look how many super regional pitchers they have faced. Faced Waldrop twice to start the season. Renfro, Bowling, who may not get a ton of time in the tournament for Arizona, but nonetheless. Stevens and Escobedo, they beat Walker, they beat Waldrop once, they beat Sarah Moulton, lost to Groenwagen. They have faced some great pitchers this year. Here's Muir taking a strike.
Yeah, a lot of All-Americans in that list.
Sure.
Something that Coach Revelle was really proud about, the pitchers that they faced.
2 finalists for Player of the Year in Carta and Waldrop. Try the corner, 1-1. $18 pop-outs of the 23 outs that Littlejohn has tallied. Has struck out just 2, has 3 groundouts, and a chance to close a 3rd straight perfect inning here in the 12th.
Sydney Littlejohn throws a curveball pretty much every time, and when we zoomed in on her grip back behind her back, she just pretty much goes ahead and gets her grip. When she puts it back there, she'll go to the side of her body as if she's changing it, but that's her curveball grip right there.
2-2. Into short left, tough play for Hayes, inning over. The last 11 in a row retired by Littlejohn, who wants to be a hero in the bottom of the 12th. Bottom of the 12th, a 5-5 game. The only SEC championship in Division I softball history belongs to the Crimson Tide. Remember the 2 rain delays in 2012, a 3-hour delay to start the game. Trina gave up 3 home runs, including 2 to Lauren Chamberlain. 1 came in the 7th, another delay, about 13 minutes. Felt like the momentum shifted with the crowd getting on its feet. The run coming in to take a 5-4 lead. And then Jackie Trina, a 5-hitter, getting Kalani Ricketts to end that game 5-4. And Alabama in comeback fashion in that series, behind the most outstanding player in that Women's College World Series, defeated Oklahoma in 3. After losing game 1, they won 2 straight. And Trina, who did not have the sharpest performance tonight, 4+, giving up 5 earned runs, has been on her feet cheering all night long for Littlejohn, who has been maybe the most important player out on the field tonight.
Passed around some snacks.
Seen your mom doing it, I guess.
Yeah.
Huh? Here's Grantham to lead off the 12th. Strike 1.
You mentioned, too, whenever they won the national championship, that rain delay really was a pivotal moment.
Felt like it, yeah.
In that final series.
The crowd just lifted them up, and if you ask any of those Crimson Tide players, they'll tell you it was absolutely what got them going after that second delay. 0-2 on Grantham, who is 0 for 4 tonight.
And she's one to watch who could end it with 1 swing at the bat. With her last 2 at bats, 1 in the 7th and then 1 in the 9th. A deep fly ball to right, and then 1 that almost got out of here to center field in the 9th.
Only hit 3 home runs this season, Grantham, but she came close 2 times. And the 1 in the 9th, everybody in this place was convinced it was out of here. And it just died at the warning track in the glove of Stokes. 1-2. 2-2.
There've been a lot of shake your head moments in this game, and that was definitely one of them. Some good defense, some poor defense, but important that Alabama has 0 errors on the board, due in large part to the amount of pop-ups that they're getting to field out on defense.
2-2 delivery. In the air, left center field, way back! Alabama wins game 1!
She hit a shot to right, a shot to center, and those 2 didn't get out, so she just decides to go to left center because that's going to be the spot where she finally hits the ball out, and she knew it right away. The celebration on a pitch that's up in the zone, sends it deep. It's all smiles for Grantham tonight. Another freshman stepping up in this game.
It was the freshman Runyon to tie it in the 7th. It's the freshman Grantham to win it in the 12th. Comeback win in Tuscaloosa in game 1 for the Crimson Tide. Tomorrow night, 6 Eastern on ESPNU, game 2, and the Crimson Tide will have a chance to win the series. Game 3 on ESPN after, if Nebraska can force it. What a night, what a game, what a start to the Super Regionals. A 6-5 win in comeback fashion for Alabama in game 1. Coming up next, Sports Center for Amanda Scarborough, our great crew tonight in Tuscaloosa. Adam Amin saying so long. Sports Center right now.